Hey guys, and welcome back to another Whiskey on the West Coast live stream. 1 year ago today, I went ahead and hit post public on my first three videos. And I really didn't know what to expect. In my mind, I was hoping that we would have some people watch, maybe a couple people comment, and at the end of a year, maybe have 100 or I don't know, 200 subscribers. And then the channel just happened. You guys happened, your comments happened, the community happened, and I'm just flabbergasted, I'm blown away, and here we are 1 year later, and I am so excited, I'm so jazzed, I'm so jacked to get to, celebrate with you guys. Yeah, this is special to me, it's a little self-indulgent, and I recognize that, it is, like, peak YouTube, but I'm excited. I want to let you know what we have in store here, and let's get to it. I want to check the chat, see you guys in here. Really apologize for being a little late. Technology can be that way. Let's see what's going on in the chat. All right, first in, Greg Whiskey guy, Gregoire. Thank you for being here, man, and thank you for your comments on Instagram. Like I said, Matt, congrats, and good to see you in this space, bringing some fresh air from your country and your personality. Cheers. Cheers to you, Greg. Really appreciate all the support. And again, appreciate you being here. Watchman999, how's it going? Calgary checking in. Whiskey Guide too. Greg's thinking the same thing. I particularly like this channel because I grew up in the same area and it's a beautiful place to be. Yeah. Yeah. No, Mount Chiem, the Veta River, the Fraser Valley. I love you, mountains or rivers. We have it good here. We truly don't know how good we have it. Thanks for being here, Watchman. Let's see here. Yeah, no problem. Dame Judy Hench. I believe that's Mitch. Hey, welcome here, Dame Judy Hench, one of the best names in Whiskey Tube. Glad to have you here. Let's see, we got Fish and Shrimp by Rich. Hello world. Hello back. And Sandro, good to have you here. This is a nice surprise. Good evening, everyone from Milano, Italy, checking in. Always great to have you around, Sandro. You are a gem of a person to have on this chat. And Greg, one more check in. Doesn't sound like a year only, to be honest. Thank you once again. It's been a learning. It's been a learning curve. It's been quite an experience. We've worked hard at the channel, and honestly, it's paid dividends from everything you guys have given back. So before going into just talking thanks, talking all that sort of stuff, I wanted to take a quick look back at where we started the channel here because that kind of sets up what we're doing for our blind challenge today. So I'm going to add a slideshow to the stage here. Yeah. So 1 year ago, December 9th, 2022, I launched three videos all at the same time. And they actually, two of the whiskeys on this table were part of that day, the Ledaig 10-year-old and the Benromach 10-year-old, the single malts there. I love those bottles just as great value bottlings. And you guys have heard me bang on about those bottles throughout the year. Now, the other one I launched was what bottles to buy the Scotch lover in your life for Christmas. It was a Christmas list because it's YouTube. We all have listicles, right? So in this case, I launched this video. I think we had 17 views on the channel in the first day, which I was thrilled with. I was like, okay, some people have actually watched these videos. However, over the coming days and weeks, that particular video, the Christmas list, kind of had a life of its own, and that helped really just launch the channel. And that brought us to our first comment, which actually, you know what? We're not even getting to the first comment. Our most popular video of this year was the top 10 affordable single malt Scotch whiskeys. That video just keeps going. It's incredible. And that I think is down to the appetite we all have for affordable quality single malt Scotch whiskeys. That's convening of that value prospect and that quality. that's what we're all after, I think, really. We can go drop a couple $100 or pounds or euros on something that's aged and is fairly sure to impress. But there's a lot of bottles out there that punch way above their price point, and I've got 5 of them on the table right here, and these 5 were all in this video, and so I thought that would be a great way to go ahead and just celebrate, to be able to hang out with you guys on this live stream and to have kind of a blind challenge among these affordable whiskeys. There are other whiskeys. It was a top 10 list. I only have 5 up here. There's other whiskeys on that list. I have these 5 on my shelf, as well as a few others, but some of the others were cask strength. So I felt these would probably be the most appropriate ones to go up head to head against each other in a blind challenge. Um, yeah, that's kind of the concept behind the blind challenge bracket. Now, they aren't set up this way in the glasses here. It's not A, B, C, D, E, F in the glasses on in front of me. I don't know which one's which, whether it's A, B, C, D, whatever. But we're gonna do 3 kind of brackets where we have 3 pairs. They go head to head. One gets eliminated, and then the winner moves on to kind of a 3-way battle royale at the end. So that's how we're going to determine which one comes out on top. Now, you probably also noticed that there are 6 coasters up here, 6 glasses, there's 6 letters. I've only got 5 bottles up here. That's because I thought it'd be really cool to add a little bit of chaos into this blind challenge, much like Roy on Aquavite does. Um, he oftentimes will slip in his blind challenges a Japanese malt, or recently an Indian single malt with the Indri. Now, I'm going with a little bit of local flair. An age statement, very similar to these. It's got the specs of 46% non-chill filtered, natural color, but it's not a scotch. So we're going to throw in here blind a little bit of Shelter Point. Shelter Point, 10-year-old Canadian single malt whiskey. I did a review of this not so long ago. It really impressed me, especially when held in light to their regular artisanal single malt, which I believe is about 7 years old. This is 10 years old. The extra age really helps round this one off. I really enjoyed it. They're located on Vancouver Island near Campbell River, just a little bit west and north of me. I really appreciate them. And I was wondering how this would perform in a blind against some similarly aged, similarly proofed, similarly presented whiskeys. On the table here, we've got the Ledaig 10-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey, 46.3% ABV. Again, 10 years old, hailing from the Isle of Mull. Wonderful, wonderful whiskey. Good dose of peat on that, about 35 ppm. But great bottle for the price, about $65 to $70 here in Canada. Craigallechie 13, again, 46% non-chill filter, natural color. Same goes for the Ledaig 10. Craigallechie 13, awesome competitor there. That we get for an absolute steal in Alberta on sale for $49, ridiculous price. Good old Benromach 10 in the background there. That one is the only one under 46%. It is natural color. I believe it is chill filtered, but I really have a soft spot in my heart for that Benromach 10. And a lot of people complain about the 43%. So I thought, great time to put this in a blind up against some of these higher proof competitors, see how it fares. Glen Garioch, 12-year-old. It is non-chill filtered, presented at 48% ABV. It is not natural color. It has some color added to it. So strike there. But like, again, $65. The Benromach 10, I should say, also came in around $65 in my area. All great value whiskeys. The only exception in my province is the Bunnahabhain 12-year-old, 46.3% ABV, hailing from Isla. We all love the distillery, it seems. This is non-chill filtered, natural color. However, it disappeared from shelves for a while, but it's returned to shelves. It's about $100 Canadian. It's much more expensive than the others. When I put this on that list, again, the most popular video we've done so far, it's just, I'm astounded by it. That bottle was running about $66 to $70 Canadian in Alberta. That's how it made it on that list. Now I think it is actually about $100 in BC and Alberta. And I don't know if it would actually make the list anymore. But it's in this blind because it was in that video. and I think it is still fairly priced for most of you out there. And then the Shelter Point. This is not an affordable option whiskey. It is about 110, $115 Canadian. 46% ABV, non-filtered natural color, ex-bourbon casks. I thought, yeah, this is a great little chaos agent to throw in here. I'm really excited about it. I will be showing you guys letters on the bottom of the glasses here that indicate which glass has which as I'm going through the little pairs here that are in this challenge. I won't be able to see what letters on the bottom of the glass. I will try to make sure you guys can so you know what I'm tasting as we go, but I'll show you and I'll put it up a few times. We have a legend for the bottles here. The legend, my big head is blocking the first one there, but it's going to be an A for Glen Garioch 12, D for Bunnahabhain 12, E for Craigallechie 13, B for Ledaig, C for Benromach, and an F. Hopefully that's not a letter grade at the end of this for Shelter Point 10. Again, I don't know what letters correspond to the glasses, but you guys will. So yeah, this is exciting. I'm jacked. Now I mentioned the first comment we got on one of our videos, that the Christmas list. Fairly simple, but I was so excited to get it, and it came from Hamilton Lad, and it just was a simple, nice recommendations. Thanks. And it might not seem like much leaving a message like that, but honestly, that lets me know that I'm on the right track. It lets me know that you guys are appreciating videos and that I should keep going and continue. And everyone on this live stream for sure is big on letting me know what you think, your opinions, and letting me know if I'm on the right track. So I really appreciate that, guys. But it's been super fun. So I think without further ado, we should get to our first bracket here in the blind challenge. I think this is a good spot to do so. Let's get this all set up. Yeah. All right. So I think I'm going to start off with a little green v gold. Green v gold. Now, I don't know what is in these glasses right now, but let's get to nosing and let's check in with the live chat, see what you guys are saying here. If I can get the live chat to cooperate. Last time we did a live stream, I got a little gun shy afterwards because the live chat froze in the middle of it. So here's hoping that everything works out. All right, Lambden, West Coast California support for West Coast BC. All right, Cascadia, West Coast. Here we go. Great to have you here. Did I hear you got a cold? Hope it will not bother you with the blind tasting. Yeah, I'm fighting through a cold. Absolutely, it's slowed me down. I'm putting out videos, putting out reviews, and I might need to mute the mic at some point to blow my nose a little bit. Sorry, guys, if that's a big gross, but that will hamstring me a little bit. But it'll still be fun. It'll still be fun to go through this. Hey, any chance you can give me a hand recommending a whiskey for my boss for a Christmas gift? Yeah. Check out my Christmas gift list if you haven't already. I have some comments to catch up on there, but I always make a point of responding in some way to comments on the videos. So you can check my latest Christmas list video. I have one from last year, as I mentioned as well. But give me a price point. Give me what you're looking for, what they like, and we can see if we can figure something out. Actually, also where you are, because that's going to be a big determining factor of of what you can get and for a reasonable price. I like these recommendations from Dame Judy Hench, from Greg, Glencadam 10-year-old. That's such a classic whiskey that I feel like anybody who likes whiskey will enjoy. So that's a great shout out. And it's usually a really great price. Oh, there you go. I don't have baller money, but he drinks 25-year-old Macallan. Oh no. Oh my. Okay, yeah, no, I see that you're in tough there. Okay. Let's see, Marcus checking in. Good evening here from Austria. A lot to do joining live managing the whiskey auction to save some gems. Yeah, yeah. Good luck with managing the whiskey auction. I've never jumped in on the whiskey auctions yet, actually. I'd really love to, but it's a little tricky here in Canada with the importation. But eventually, I'll get on there and start digging through, looking for some gems. But glad to have Austria checking in. I actually fell off an Alp in Austria, believe it or not, back in 2013. I was living in Germany in the Bodensee, in Friedrichshafen, and loving it. Love Germany, Switzerland, Austria, all great countries. And we went and we hiked Ebenalp, and we hiked a a few other Alps as well. And this one Alp, Valmendinger Horn, I remember it. I got to the top, no problem, all good. We saw what we thought was a safer way to get down the mountain, and within 5 minutes, I had fallen, torn all the ligaments in my left ankle. I had gone for a tumble. It's fun and dramatic to say I fell off an Alp, but it was a long like 3 hours hiking down. Sometimes with my ankle twisting to the point where it looked like I was like standing on my femur, taking a tumble again. It was rough. It really messed up, my time, for a couple of months, but, good memories, Austria and falling off an Alp. Alright. Let's see here. Alright, Mitch. I'm on 9-year-old bourbon barrel Ardmore bottled by Carnmore. I love Carnmore. They have great offerings, uh that's gonna be, probably at, like, 47.5, 48.5% if it's, their typical offerings. I really appreciate what they do. I've had some great young Ben Nevis, some great Ardmores. I've got actually one behind my shoulder here. Really, really love what Carnmore's doing. Um, really good at bringing great value. Oh, well, that's an interesting nose. Definitely like a really, really nice malt note with some nice tropical fruits. Verging towards, like, pineapple and, like, guava, apricot in this gold glass. Super fruity nose. Wow. Yeah, that's, I'm guessing there's a good proportion of ex-bourbon, with whatever's in here. It's also got some nice, malt dessert notes here, malt decadence, maybe a bit of shortbread cookie too, and maybe, there's gotta be some, flaky, like, pastry crust in here too. But loving the fruits off this nose in this gold glass. Alright, that's really nice, that's really nice. Check out the nose on the green glass here. Oh, much darker. More on sherry tones, bit of chocolate, nice, like, bit of sultana note. Definitely a bit of seaside coastal element. I'm getting, salt spray as far as I can blinds are great for making you look like a fool. You can make all these big assertions like, "Yeah, I'm getting some salt spray." Coastal elements. I am getting what I think are coastal elements, a bit of salinity, bit of, black licorice too, actually. Touch of chocolate, more of like a bitter dark chocolate, a raisin, prune, plum, way more. I should show you what's on these glasses, at the bottom of these glasses, so you can follow along. Let's see here. I'm gonna get Kyla to help me and focus in on this, make sure it's actually focusing. Awesome. That's what's in the gold glass. Hopefully you guys could see that. This is what's in the green glass right here. Looking away, not wanting to cheat. All right. Right away, I'm already guessing. I shouldn't guess at what's in each of these glasses here, but I'm thinking that this green glass might be the Bunnahabhain. But again, blinds are great at making you look like a fool, and and I'm pretty good at doing that myself as well. All right, let's check the chat here again. Gregoire, your thumbnails are great too, of unique style, so it might be part of the success, methinks, done by your other half, right? Yeah, Kyla's all over all the creative side of this. I had a kind of a concept idea for the logo, much like this hat here. I wanted to use our local mountains and kind of this kind of color scheme that we have for our Vancouver Whitecaps FC football club here, and they kind of jive with just West Coast life, I think. Um, she made up a fantastic logo, and she's all over the thumbnail. She does a fantastic freaking job. Yeah, I without her efforts, I would be languishing probably somewhere on YouTube unknown because yeah, she really pulls people in with those thumbnails. Can't say enough good about what she's done there. Yeah, looks like Greg, you're interested in seeing that shelter point in there too. I think that's really, really, yeah. I think it's going to be interesting to see where it winds up here. Sandro talking about the Carnmores. Yeah, the bottom's 48.5. Yeah, yeah. Well aged malts, Longmore 11. Oh, getting a Longmore and a Carnmore would be a great thing. I haven't seen them yet. I've seen some Glenrothes on the shelves around here. Um, Mitch is such a hard challenge level as well. Oh yeah, they're all bangers. They're all fantastic whiskeys, and that's why I thought, yeah, let's give her, and see which one of these come up top with these with a slew of like murder's row of affordable bottles. This is great. Sandro Glen Garioch, 15 cast strength is excellent. Never had the 12, but should be good. Yeah, I was shocked the first time I opened up a bottle of Glengarry 12. It is so expressive on the nose for the price you're paying. It's hella good. Great. Oh, we've got a Kyla's made up an answer key here, where I can open up the doors and reveal which one is which. I'll show you here. She's like I said, she's on top of this stuff. Answer key. So when I eliminate one, I'm gonna reveal on my side which it is, and we'll talk about it. But that's fantastic. Kyla's sometimes a little bit shy to come on the camera, so we've had her in videos when we were traveling to Scotland. So if you're wondering who Kyla is, you'll be able to see her in that video. One day we'll get her on a live stream. Next time maybe drop an Amharic 15-year-old in if you can, or a Cornog. Yeah, NAS peated. This could be fun. And a bit of French touch in it. Yeah, no, if I can get my hands on some decent quality French whiskey out here, I will do it. I think I should be able to get a good Amharic out of Alberta. That's where all our good whiskey seems to come from. Marcus P. Congratulations on the first year, Matt. Great channel, good content, nice presented. Thank you, Marcus. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Yeah, whiskey on the West Coast. Sharing the Germany love here. Great country for marathon. A couple nice running marathons. I did my running and training a few years ago, and that was enough for me to say no, thank you. All right. One more comment here from another great name in YouTube space. A little bit racy here. Pill Cosby, what's up from Germany? The whiskey here is crazy cheap and available. If you come back, hit me up. Stuttgart. Oh man, I spent some time in Stuttgart, the Christmas market. Obviously had to get to the Christmas market, but I went to some VfB Stuttgart games in the Konstatter Curve. They lost to Augsburg, unfortunately, but yeah, I enjoyed my time in Stuttgart. Great city, and I mean, yeah, Baden-Württemberg. Yeah, I loved my time over in Germany. Kyla spent some time in Germany too, just in a different part. She was up in near Dresden, um, which yeah, Herrnhut, I think, is where she was staying. So yeah, we both have connections to Germany through time abroad. All right, another quick nose here on the gold, and then we'll get to sipping these because we got to make tracks. Yeah, it's really nice tropical fruits on this. This has got to be a good proportion ex bourbon. All right, taking a sip. Slange, guys. Thanks for being here. Mm. Oh, yeah, that's nice, classic single malt whiskey profile. I'm pretty confident that it's ex bourbon, icing sugar, vanilla, um, lots of like vanilla and like tannins. Like I feel like it's pulling quite a bit from the oak. Bit of a smoky note. Might be coming from char. Might be coming from a small trace of peat in there. Really focusing on that grain aspect. Yeah, very bright, visceral malty malt sugar notes. Was it malt dextrose or whatever it is the key there. That's really satisfying. That's really classic profile. Loving that. Mm. bit of a chocolate note there too, actually. Definitely a richness, almost a slight waxiness too, actually. Oh man. Um, Kind of like French pastry desserts too. Like I'm thinking about again, flaky crust, icing sugar, chocolate, just decadence. Fruits coming through, bit of pear, apple. Oh man. Yeah, a slight bit of coconut there too. This is really satisfying. This is good. This is holding up well. I feel like there's a the age is coming through good on there's a good oak impact on it. You can pick up on that extra bit of tannin. There's a bit of bitterness on the finish from that oak impact, which I like. I like to balance out the sweets with a bit of bitterness. It just overall makes it a more approachable whiskey for me, anyways. So that's oftentimes if I'm not looking for extremes like Octomore or like heavy dumpy sherry things, or like fully into the tropicals. I like some balance, some nice walking of the tightrope between two worlds. It's a good thing. So it's young and sprightly in that you get a lot of the malt impact, the distillate signature in here, I think. But you're also getting that oak impact. Yeah, this is good. One more sip, and we'll move on to the green glass and see if we can come up with a winner. Hmm. Oh man, I want to make a guess at what this is, but oh, these blinds are tricky. They're tricky. Okay, Gregoire, cool to see that Germany is now bringing German peat in some bottlings, reaching France now. Hensler's Bavarian Peat release. I tried recently a show. That's really cool to hear about, Greg. I really am bullish on local peat. I'm working on, I've been working on for a while, reaching out to maltsters, Red Shed Malting. Before they closed, there was a maltster just in Washington State here as well. Skagit Valley Maltings. They've closed down now, but that's who Westland used to source to peat their malt with Washington State peat for their solemn release recently. Copperworks used them too. And Macaloney's Caledonian on Vancouver Island was using Washington peat from that same maltster. Odd Society in Vancouver, same thing. They're all getting their peat with some locally sourced, or their malt with some locally sourced peat from the same maltster, and they've actually closed down. They've gone under. They've gone out of business. And so I've been reaching out to some other maltsters here in Canada to see what's going on with local peat, because there's a very little of it, and there's a lot of opportunity for that local terroir, that to have our own signature instead of relying on malt being shipped from Scotland, already peated by Baird's or others, um, and having that signature. We want our own signature. We want if it's being made in Canada, why shouldn't it be made with Canadian peat? I mean, we're using Canadian barley half the time too. I mean, most of the time we have to. Um, if they're a craft distillery. So yeah, no, I'm all on board with German peat. That's killer. I like that. That's cool to hear. And you don't have Carnmore in France anymore, Gregor. That's I wonder if that's an impact from Brexit. That's sad to hear because there was some really good um yeah, there was some good bottlings. Marcus F. But Friedrichshafen is really cool. Yeah, I mean they're big on their zeppelins. I can say that much. Yeah, cool town. Loved being there. The Bodensee is a beautiful, beautiful place. Bill Cosby drinking a Gordon MacPhail Ardmore 19 and Springbank 15. Wow, digging into some heavy hitters at Gordon and MacPhail Ardmore 19. I'm wondering, is that the one from the Strath Liquor in Victoria? I've heard some really good things about that. I think that one was a sherried Ardmore. Um, Ardmore, especially like pre-changeover Ardmore, like pre-2001 Ardmore, I'm really digging with those direct fired coal fired stills, much like Nikayoichi. They were using their coal fired stills still. Yeah, anything pre-2001 from Ardmore, I am trying to scoop up as I have some extra finances. Escargot 80, congrats on 1 year. Tagged you on Insta today on my Aaron 10 dram. Oh, that's you on Insta. Okay, yeah, I saw that. Um, awesome, thank you. I have to respond still. It's been busy, Christmas season, work, everything else. But thank you for the tag. And yeah, you're pouring out a nice dram there. That's awesome. Welcome here. Thanks for joining the live. All right, Sandro. Sounds very tasty. I have a 2018 Chianti Classico Pepoli. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but I have had some Chianti in the past as I having a roast dinner with vegetables in the Porto. Afterwards, I'll pour some Ardent American Sherry cask to start. I've got to sample the Ardent American Sherry cask. I got to try that. I think that was bottled at like 50% ABV, a little extra heft, and I've only heard good things about that Ardent American Sherry release. That's awesome. All right. Let's get to the palette here on the green glass. I'll put the answer key back up in case you guys didn't see that earlier. So if you remember what letters on each of these glasses, you can check the answer key. Remind yourself which one's which. Hopefully this is working well. If we do another blind in the future, we'll take all feedback you guys have to see how better we can do this. Yeah, yeah, it's a great nose. Again, it very much veering more on the sherried side of things. Raisin sultana, leather, some black licorice, some chocolate, some coastal notes. I'm really thinking this is the Bunnahabhain 12, but let's go to the palate. Hmm. Yeah, what a palate. Oh, that's buzzing. Chocolate comes through, salinity comes through, lots of great malt tones. Definitely the prune and sultana, but that's just classy sherry. That's classy sherry. A good amount of bite, good amount of grip from that ABV. There's a little bit of spicing, almost more like a nutmeg spice. Not as hot as like a cinnamon for me. So no like Macallan ginger. Mm, yeah, what a great start. These are both great whiskeys. Man, I've really it's gonna be a shame to eliminate any in this, I think. Oh yeah, that's classic. Um, all right, I'll do a quick AB and then we'll decide a winner in this first round. This is gonna come down to personal preference, I think. Like if you really prefer a more ex-bourbon style presentation, I feel like you might be all the more on to this gold gloss. Oh, man, I could see this gold really being a couple different things on this table, actually. Oh man, I think maybe it's because it's snowing outside right here in Abbotsford in the Fraser Valley. It's big flakes, lots of snow. We're on a mountain, and it's coming down thick. So maybe I'm just really jiving with this green glass today because it's a bit more of what I would classically drink during the winter. Um, This gold glass is more of a summer dram for me, and I am a seasonal drinker. I'm not sure if you guys are too, but I definitely drink seasonally. Yeah, yeah. Okay, quick sips. Mm, yeah, I didn't mention it before, like white chocolate fondant, sweet icing, along with those apple, pear kind of orchard fruits on the palate. Really great malt tone. That's good. That is good stuff. Mm, yeah. Okay. I am after that last taste. I'm certain that the green glass in my mind is Bunnahabhain, is Bunnahabhain 12. Now I'm not gonna reveal it until it makes its way through the challenge here. I'm only gonna reveal the ones that are eliminated. Well, that Bunnahabhain is just singing my song today. One more sip of this gold, give it a final consideration, but think I might know what way I'm going, even though the nose is so engaging on this gold glass. My goodness. There's gotta be some sherry in here too, actually. Like, I'm really picking up on the ex-bourbon stuff, but there's gotta be some sherry in here. Mm, there's a great minerality to this as well. Some, like, flinty notes. Yeah, I'm picking up on more sherry notes here too on the palate. This is a friggin' phenomenal dram. A lot of character, a lot of depth. Whatever this is, I think it's drinking under its ABV. I don't think this drinks at 46%. I don't even know if this drinks at 43%. This is a killer whiskey. Guys, this is a tough decision, but my heart of hearts right now, I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna take this answer key off here. I'm gonna go with the green as my winner for this round. Um, the gold worthy competition. I feel like this might be a bad beat. Like both of these could have made it to the final and battled it out in the end. But I got to give it to green on this day again with an assist, a helping hand from the snow flurries outside. So let's find out. Let's find out what's in this gold glass. If you guys were watching earlier, you already know what was in this. Um, my guesses are going a couple different ways. This isn't the Ledaig 10. It's not the Ledaig 10. It's not the Bunna because I believe the Bunna is in this green glass here. It's not the Benromach because there wasn't enough of a trace of peat on it. There might have been like a slight aspect, but like the slightest that it could be something else, like even like cask sulfur, or even no, not even cask, like spirit sulfur, something like that. That leaves shelter points, the Glengarry and the Craigallechie. I don't think it's the shelter point, and I think I know Craigallechie 13 well enough that it's one of those three. I'm gonna go with Glengarry, 12-year-old being in this glass, and if so, that's unfortunate because I feel like it could have gone far in this competition. So let's see. I'll show you the letter. I'll take a look at the same time. Oh, it's an upside down A. You can see there, that is an A. Let's go back to that answer key. Oh yeah, sorry, we got this board here. It is the Glengarry 12. I'll try to remember to use this board for the next reveals. So we got the gold glass right here. I'll do my best Vanna White impression. Ooh la la. And then we'll take it. A. Yeah. Okay. This is the way we're doing it the rest of the way. This is slick. I like this. I totally forgot about that. All right. So Gary, 12-year-old. Um, if you haven't had this whiskey, you really have to. You really have to have this because it's a beautiful pour. That is really the only knock I have against it is that it's not natural color. If we take a look at the color here, you can see that kind of like orangey hue that you get oftentimes with these dosed, like color dosed whiskeys. Oh, that's a cool look. Um, that's the only thing I can say. They actually chill filter it. They're giving us an extra 2% ABV in this bottle, which is great. Ex bourbon and sherry casks. That's great. Love it. Um, yeah, this bottle was a bit of a revelation. Again, $65 Canadian. I don't know what that equivalates into into quid, euros, American dollars, but great whiskey. If I was Jeff Whiskey, I'd given it a good little bottle slap there. That's phenomenal. I think Grigor, I remember you doing a bottle slap there for Jeff's channel. It was hilarious. I loved it. We're gonna retire this whiskey off the table. It's been fun, Glengarry. Thank you for your service, but you can rest easy for today. All right, let's check out some comments. Get caught up. Sorry guys if I'm taking too long getting back to you. Christine, hey Christine, thanks for being here. Congratulations, Matt, on 1 year on YouTube. Your videos reviews are always fantastic. Thank you so much, Christine. You have some of the most wonderful feedback on the channel. I always love reading your comments, and it's so genuine what you're saying, and so I really appreciate it. You always seem to appreciate the recommendations, and I hope you enjoy a lovely pour, something special in your glass today. Catching up on some of the comments. I love that you guys are talking to each other. Uh, I actually have a few places I can get a lot of Springbank from. You're like one of the few people on the planet, if that's the case, there, Pill. I have 3 different bottlings of the 15, drinking the early 22 bottling. Those 22 bottlings, if you like dumpy, funky, sherried Springbank, they might be the best, Springbanks, around. The Springbank 15s that are, like, heavily, heavily sherried, yeah, no, those bottles are might become legendary. I know Hexagonal Crank, a big player in the Canadian whiskey Reddit, kind of always online talking whiskey. He's sent me some samples that I've done reviews of. Thank you if you check this out, Hex. I really appreciate sending those. Um, yeah, he raves about those 22s, and I have to agree. From the samples I've had, I haven't been able to get a bottle, but the samples I've had of those 22s were excellent. James Wright, checking in for Victoria. Welcome here, James. Glad to have you here. I know Glen Garioch 12 is one of your favorites, so I'm sorry to eliminate it early on here. Hello, all, and congratulations, Matt. 1 year of outstanding YouTube videos. Thank you. Loving your work, mate. Appreciate it so much, James. This all seems very peak YouTube and a bit self-indulgent to do a 1 year celebration, but thank you guys for celebrating the channel. I'm just so glad we can all gather here and hang out. This is fun. And I think it's a great topic for it. Let's get down here, catch up. Let's see, Rona McConnell. Congrats on 1 year. About to open a Benromach Cask 2013 batch 1. Pardon me, I'm going to see if I have the same batch because I have a 2013 Benromach here cask strength as well. Oh, such is the state of the whiskey room. Yeah, 2013 cask strength batch 1. I have cracked this. I have been sipping it. Yeah, so it's cracked. There's been maybe one pour out of it. Really impressed so far. I drank it head to head against the 100% ex bourbon Springbank 12 cask strength. And on the nose, it was a close race. The Springbank 12 cask strength took it for me on the palate, I think. But I'm going to continue that head to head to see what I think about this Benromach cask strength. But great stuff. You are drinking a banger today. Gregor, lots of good indie companies missing there, Matt. Biggest choice is probably in Germany, Belgium, Netherlands. Yeah, they seem to have the best prices and a great amount of choice. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I'll see Glengarry 12. It's the greatest underdog. It's yeah. I'm really sad that it went up against Bunnahabhain 12 in the first round. Like that's like drawing the number 1 seed in the World Cup. Like that's that feels a bit unfair. It's lot in life. The dice were rolled and they weren't rolled in its favor. Pokaz is super lucky out here. Even a couple local barley out here for retail. 150 euros a bottle. Oh man, you're melting my face with that. Oh no. I wish it was more available for everyone else to get to try. Well, that's kind of you. Well, I'm glad you get to have that there. I have a sample of local barley. I've never had local barley from Springbank yet. So I have a sample. I'm hoping to find time to try in front of the camera here to give you guys my thoughts. It's always a toss up between trying stuff, just hanging out, relaxing, and writing notes, and being able to actually go and try it on the camera because that takes a lot more time. But I always like to bring you guys my thoughts on things. So yeah, doing my best to catch up on samples. Yeah, Sabrina Benoit. Hey, fellow Peregrino, if I remember correctly, walking the Camino de Santiago. I'd love to get back there again one day. Loved my time on the Camino Francis. Sabrina, I can't remember if you did the Francis or others, but welcome here. Thanks for joining in. That Ardmurk and Sherry is a beauty. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. Let's see if we can find some of the reaction to the Glengarry getting knocked out. Oh my word. I'm so behind on comments, guys. I really apologize. Our American rum cask is incredible. Immediately bought a second bottle. That's Mitch coming in with that there. Yeah. I saw a review on Dramface. Check out the review on Dramface because they had 2 different takes on it. Christine, I may have already mentioned, but I wanted to share that Al from Whiskey Straight Al has passed away. Sad and sending care to someone. Yeah, I never got to interact with Al, but I always heard his name passed around and always just good things said about him. So I was sad to see that one of our fellow whiskey lovers in the whiskey community passed away. So yeah, thoughts and care and prayers to his family. And I'm gonna take a sip of this Glengarry the whiskey straight out. Hmm. Thanks for putting that in there, Christine. That's a really poignant comment. Yeah, well done. Al was in Ireland. Yeah. Oh man. All right. Uh, continuing to catch up on your guys' awesome chat here. Lots going on. Uh, all right. If you can make it there, Matt, with Scaling West Coast, I'll make you try my Glengarry 24-year-old Cadenhead, which is an absolute delight and very subtle. And that would have been that one. Thank you for the offer. That's great. I would be all over that. But number two, that would probably be pre-closure. Oh, not pre-closure, but like when they were still using their own malting floors, when they probably still peated their whiskey too, right? Those independents from the earlier 90s were still that old style Glengarry character that they're trying to get back to, bringing back their malting floors, direct fired stills, all that. Yeah, yeah, I would take you up on that, on Gregor. James, right? I love that Glengarry 12, such a good value. It's an amazing value. It's a friggin' revelation, that bottle. I'm pointing as many people as I can towards that bottle because it's killer. Smeargel, hello, whiskey on the West Coast. Sorry for late joining. Don't be sorry. I'm just so happy to have you here. Welcome here. Any or all are welcome, early, late, or otherwise, on the replay. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you. That's phenomenal. Whiskey Bucks, great name. I've enjoyed your first year, but disappointed you just been the Glengarry 12. I know. I know. Ugh. Them's the breaks. That's just how this cookie crumbled. Tim Lennox, Shelter Point 10 would be the least available to me of all these. I've tried the standard artisanal. Would you recommend the Smoke Point or the Ripple Rock as alternatives? So I brought the Smoke Point patch 2 with me to Scotland to share with people because it was something I didn't think people would have. So I was pouring that at distillery visits and places I went. People I met was pouring them off samples or glasses. I appreciate that whiskey for what it is. It was a ex Lafroig quarter cask, single malt from Canada, about 5 years old. However, pardon me, still getting over this cold. The latest batches of the Smoke Point are much better than the earlier ones. So it really depends on the batch. The most recent batch, I think at 53%, they actually did some different. It's not actually ex Isla cask, ex Isla quarter cask. They're smoking the barrels with local peat as well as locally harvested seaweed, which was a bit of a trip in my brain to think about. But I think it actually comes off a lot more interesting on the palate than it did before, and I think it's a bit more mature perhaps than it was before. So if it's the batch 3, I'd say yeah, go for it. I wouldn't go for the artisanal again unless it's a more recent batch. I have a earlier batch of artisanal from 2017. I put it up against a recent bottle of the artisanal, and it's night and day. Again, it's probably 7 years versus 3 years or 4 years. And there's this adhesive kind of almost like solventy note I can get in Shelter Point when it's young. That seems to round off with more age, like in this 10-year-old. So really batch dependent. If you're finding it on a shelf, send me a message on Instagram or comment on a video, and I'll try to let you know if I think it's one of the better ones. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna set this Glengarry aside and get back to the slideshow with some of the comments from the channel's year. Um, just to get this moving along because we're at 45 minutes here and we've got 4 more whiskeys to taste and then put up against each other. This I'm certain this has to be Bunnahabhain 12, but I'll put it back over here for now. And let's take a look at the slideshow here before we get to our next challengers. So where we left off was with the first comment on the channel, and there's been a ton of comments. You guys have been unbelievable, and I've actually learned a ton from your comments, especially like for people who are in this chat right now. I've learned a ton from Gregoire. You are a walking whiskey encyclopedia, my man. You know your stuff inside and out. But Comments are always a mixed bag, and you might know that I wear these hats. I love my flat brim hats. The curved brim hats just look weird on my head. Maybe it's because I have a big head. Maybe that's because of my ego. I don't know. Either way, the only real negative comments I've had on the channel have all been surrounding my friggin' head and what I place upon it. As you can see, and it's not like super negative, it's just comically negative. And I think your hat is too big for your head, is the top one there. I've had is the hat too big for the head or is the head too small for the hat? I've had that one. That was a funny one. Hillary, this one was such a mixed bag. Dude, great job on both the review and the tweed cap. So much better than the huge team caps. Tweed really suits you in the whiskey review. And that was actually coming, I think, after this original one. Matt, dude, I think your reviews are great, but I just can't take the huge caps. They're so distracting, and I can't even hear your reviews anymore. Oh man, I can't actually read it here. It's too small, but I think I said something like, "Thanks for the feedback, Hillary. That's a pretty cute dog in your profile photo. Sorry, you find the caps distracting. Take care." I don't know what else to say to someone like commenting on my looks. It was funny. I appreciated the kind things about the review. Hopefully my hats don't get in the way of you guys enjoying my content on the caps because I think this is hilarious. Sandy McDonald, someone who started commenting very early on. Um, it's hilarious the progression, and again, I don't know if this is coming through well at all. But he starts off with just subscribed, love your view, but not your hat. I'm like, okay, all right. And then following on, Glen Garioch can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. Great cap. I was like, okay, maybe the tide's turning. Great whiskey at an affordable price. Your caps are growing on me. Yes, yes. We don't have any Macallan. I can't comment on the whiskey, but your cap is a blinder. I love how this just developed as we went, and it became just a running gag that, Sandy then started to give me cap scores. This week's cap in the bottom right-hand corner gets an 8. It just keeps going and going. I think it's hilarious. I would love to make a cap score thing on the channel. That'd be amazing. When I had a what whiskey pairs best with Guinness on St. Patrick's Day with my buddy Andrew, we both were wearing hats. We did not coordinate that. That just happened to occur, and Sandy gave a cap score for both of us there with yours truly coming out on top. Love that. Let me know what you guys think about the caps in the comments here, and I'll get your honest opinions on my ridiculously large, evidently, hats. Um, yeah, we'll come back to this a little bit later. Let's get cracking on the whiskey again. All right. So next up, we're gonna be running the crystal cut Glencairn. I didn't have another blacked out glass, so I had to go with a clear glass there, and I went with the crystal because it was a little bit different, more distinctive, versus the black glass. Now, I'll go ahead. Kyla, you can let me know if these show up on camera. Not looking great. So that lets you know what's in the crystal glass here. And then the black glass, that's what's in the black glass there. All right. Gonna check out a couple comments here before cracking on. Sabrina, you did the Camino Portuguese. Oh, that's awesome. I'd love to do the Portuguese. Um, Greg said you like that Glengarry 12. Um, yeah, almost unpeated. Yeah, no, I would believe that the Glengarry 12 is unpeated. It was it had to be something else. Like I said, maybe spirit sulfur or something else I was picking up on. Oh, you must be talking about that Cadenheads one. Sorry, that one is almost unpeated. Okay, yeah, I think I have like a 1993 peated Glengarry, which is pretty fascinating. Peter White talking Glengarry as well. 95 showed up a few years ago for some reason, and it was like $120 Canadian for a 16-year. It was the last of the peated Glengarry. Yeah, that would be a great thing to jump all over. That's important. Um, Christine, well, that sounds amazing for Shelter Point. I'll have to grab some newer batches. Yeah. Yeah, I love throwing some love to some local distilleries, and that their latest batches are a lot better. Had them at BC Distilled, had them at Hopscotch recently, doing the whiskey festival circuit, much like Gregor was doing in France with Whiskey Live Paris. Um, and yeah, it's something else. I have been Smear Gel. I've been hunting Hazelburn 15 Oloroso 2023 bottles, but damn it, it has been hard. And pricing is pretty wide, very high or reasonable. Yeah, really depends the ethics of the retailer and the shop you're dealing with. All right, cracking on to an hour. Pardon me a moment while I mute. There's only so much you can do getting over a cold. They take forever, it seems these days. All right, Crystal Cut Glencairn. Ooh, this is peated. Oh, that's a lovely peat. Oh, I'm all over that. Coca-Cola notes too. Coca-Cola, leather, maybe a touch of like medicinal notes. It's nice fruiting underneath too, but I am focused. I'm hyper focused on this peat after the two unpeated drams earlier. Softening now a little bit. Now it's uncovered. It can breathe a bit more. That color. That's a nice color on that. Love that. Yeah. Oh my word. Coastal phenolic, but not super heavily. I think I know what this and this has a big tell. I think it's going to out itself pretty quickly here. Yeah, wow. Love that. Nice like vanilla. But that Coca-Cola note I'm really jiving with. That peat, it does go on the more like it's not like Lafroig medicinal. But certainly coastal. I could just like nestle in this glass. That's oh, I'm a peat fan. I'm a peat fan. It is what it is. The black glass. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Definitely more spirit forward in the sense that um I'm not just getting peat right away. This is I'm guessing that there's a very purposeful sulfur note on this. Spirit sulfur again. And I'm looking the way of a yellow label with that. Ton of fruit. Lots of sweet dessert tones. So icing sugar again, lovely baked goods, but a metric ton of like cider apples, pear, apricot, fruit leather. Someone was confused at one point in the comments when I said fruit leather. Fruit leather is not like a leather made out of fruit, but it's like dried, pressed fruit snacks that we used to get in like our lunches, our lunch kits. That's blown off a bit now. Definitely going more towards the sweet tones, icing sugar, more on that fondant thing again. I always found that the Craigallechie 13 and the Glen Garioch 12 actually knows pretty close. Like there was a lot of similarities. Um, Bit of funkiness to this too. Touch of funk. I'm down with the funk. We like the funk on whiskey on the West Coast. That's for sure. Grabbing a comment here. Gord Ledrew started watching your channel recently. Nice seeing a fellow Canadian and what is available in BC and Alberta from Manitoba, and selection is limited. Bunch of us order a lot from Alberta. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I pick up some things at the Spirit release here in BC, but most of my whiskey is being brought here from Alberta. Welcome here, Gord. Good to have you here. And I know you guys had your spirits release in Manitoba recently as well. So hopefully you got some good stuff there. Some very good stuff there. Let's see, Mitch. First rule of YouTube: people are awful. You know what? The whiskey community is so positive. It's been like almost all nothing but support, even with like the comments about the hats. Like it was couched with love your reviews, like love the videos. Just can't take the hats, which is why I can laugh at them. That's great. Um, as far as internet goes, Whiskey Tube is about as good as it gets. The whiskey community, yeah, I gotta extend that past whiskey. The whiskey community as a whole is just friggin' phenomenal. You guys are the superstars, the rock stars of channels like Whiskey on the West Coast. Um, Let's see here. I like all of those whiskey except for the wild card one. I don't know. Yeah, it has distribution in BC and Alberta. It's a Canadian single malt, so it's going to be tougher for people to get. And that's why I thought it'd be interesting to throw in here because Canadian whiskey kind of gets diminished, gets talked down quite a bit because there's so much corn whiskey, Canadian Club, all that stuff. And if it's not corn, it's probably rye or a blend of all those things after they've been aged in casks, and usually more tired or used casks. So I thought something that's using good quality casks, single malt, coastal. I thought the Shelter Point would be a interesting in interruption in this. Gregor, what a bunch of silly comments. The weirdest one out of my channel was there are bits of dot coming out of your nose. Oh no. Come on. That's not helpful to say after the fact anyway. Stephen Gibson, good evening, man. Good evening, Stephen. Welcome here. Peter White, the release 6-7 years in the past at Glen Garioch, but that happened quite a bit with Glen Garioch vintage releases. Yeah, definitely take notice when Glen Garioch's coming to the fore. Wraith, I think it's pronounced Wraith. Matt, the Hat, West Coast. I like it. I like it. Christine, LOL. Oh no, I can't imagine making any comment about someone's cap. I never noticed the caps. I just care about the genuine nature of the person in the reviews, and I love learning. What did I say earlier? You have like the most genuine, nice comments out there, Christine. Thank you so much. All right. And Gregor commenting on the cat. I also wondered about the cat, Matt, but it didn't bother me more as what you were saying was interesting rather than what you were wearing, right? It's about content. I definitely don't judge people on what they're wearing within reason, I suppose. Someone can always find an exclusion to the rule, exception to the rule. Yeah, that's a great nose on this black glass here. I'm going to cover that up again. Let's take actually, I'm going to switch this up because this is peated. I'm going to sip the black glass first, then I'm going to go to the crystal cut Glencairn here, simply for the fact that I don't want to peat blind myself. All right, down the hatch, black glass. Vanilla, icing sugar, orchard fruits again. Definitely again on the dessert tones. The finish is nice and long. Still going right now. Super malty on the finish. Sweetness is all still present everywhere. Oh man, blind tasting is a real difficulty for me. I like to challenge myself to do it, but it's always so hard on the spot to come up with tasting notes. I'm used to taking a glass, sitting with it for an hour or more at a time, and I write down notes. I grabbed my notebook journal here so I could show it to you guys if I wanted to. But I write reams of notes of what I'm thinking on a whiskey and how it develops as it goes, and that's my preferred way to analyze a whiskey. Is to contemplatively just sit with it, take my time. But that's not what this is. This is a pressure filled sort of thing. You got to make Choice is quicker. I think I'm in love with the nose on this one, and the palate is just developing for me. Hmm. I think there's a heft to the palate, and meatiness, which might be coming from worm tubs. And I'm still looking at that yellow label over there. If the Glen 12 hadn't been eliminated in the first salvo there, the opening round, I would be thinking that it could be either one of those. I think this is the Craigallechie 13 in this black class. And it shouldn't be about what my favorites are at all. Shouldn't be about the value proposition on things. I got to take that out of the equation. I just got to try my best to analyze what's in the glass before me. But the mind does what it does. Hmm. That's a solid all around whiskey. Wow. Yeah. All right. Going to the Crystal Cut Glencairn. Well, I'm nosing that for a brief moment. Gord, own all the bottles that you're doing today. Okay. My favorites would be the Ledaig 10, the Craigallechie 13. Should have included the Bruichladdich Classic Laddie. Yeah, the Bruichladdie's been going up in price here. You can still get it for a really good price in Alberta, about 70, $80. I do love the Bruichladdich Classic Laddie. And most people on the channel, I think, know that I am a big fan, a big booster of Bruichladdich to the point where I've been accused of being a Laddie fanboy, which I do not deny at all. At all. Chaz Chili. Dang, made it to Mr. Hats Live. Yeah, what up, Chaz? Welcome here. Stephen Gibson, or should I say good afternoon? Yeah, here, I mean, I think it just shifted over to the afternoon. We're just at noon. I've got a coffee beside me here in case I need it. Yeah, Christine, I think it's awesome that you have such a great sense of humor about the cap comments, man. Your caps look normal size to me. Thank you. They don't look odd or huge at all, at least not to me. Well, I'll count that as a tick in the AOK to the cats comments. Mitch commenting here. Matt's cap is like Jeff Whiskey's shades. It's odd to see them without them. Yeah, I did one review. I did a Port Charlotte MCO1 review without a hat. And it's just weird. I look at the thumbnail and it's like I'm looking at another person. I don't like it. So I'm gonna keep the caps around. Watchman has been mentioned. Hasn't been mentioned yet that the Glenglassaugh Sandend won Whiskey of the Year from Whiskey Advocate. I hadn't seen the list yet. My work day yesterday was nutters, and then we had our friend's Christmas party. So I'm out of the loop on recent events. Really, it won that. I'm always very suspicious about Whiskey Magazine Whiskeys of the Year. I know they say they're blind panels and all this. You always see the advertising in the magazines after the fact for the exact things that they're giving awards to. Um, but I think what might happen is that they do the blind tastings and panels and all that, determine their winners, then offer advertising space to the winners. Say, hey, you're getting this award. Would you like to advertise? I hope that's the way, but I have my suspicions. But interesting with that relaunch of those Glenglossa's, their Watchmen. Um, I was sad to see some of them at 45%, I think it was. I don't want to judge too much on that because there are whiskeys like the Benromach 10 that I think are great at 43. But yeah, interesting. I gotta try some of these new Glenglossaws. Donner Pass Whiskey, congratulations on your year of making videos. Thank you, Donner Pass. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And Glenglossaugh is under the radar. Rachel Berry is now, and I think it is going to be moving up the ranks in the years to come. Here's hopefully Rachel Berry has quite the CV. She's got quite the reputation for doing amazing things with whiskey. So they are in good hands, absolutely good hands. All right. Mm. Oh man. Again, I'm getting that coastal element, the brine, medicinal notes, slight iodine, not Lafroig like, but adjacent, let's say. Earthy peat as well, leather, Um, that Coca-Cola note comes through on the palate for me as it did on the nose. I love that. I love that in a lot of those sherried Springbank 15s as well. Mm. All those really intense grape. They must have used really good first fill ex bourbon casks here um, for this because again, I'm gonna say right now this is the Ledaig 10. And that's again, it had that assist there because it's the only heavily peated whiskey here. Um, that's a stunner. There's a reason why the first review I recorded, and I actually re-recorded it I think twice before we settled on our first video, our first review with the Ledaig 10. Um, I love the Ledaig 10. It's such a great value, such a great flavor profile. It is an Isla alternative where you don't have to pay the Isla tax. People are catching on to it now. It's going up in price. The Ledaig 10 is just a killer. It's just a killer. And the Ledaig 18, um, hot damn. If that was imported into Canada, if that was brought into Canada, I would be stocking backups of the Ledaig 18. I think that's going to get premiumized in the near future here. I will be sad when it does, especially if I haven't at least gotten a bottle of it for my own little whiskey library here. It'd be too bad. It'd be really too bad. I'm gotta put that answer key back up for you guys here when it comes to the blinds. I'll show you one more time what these are here. I know my winner at this point. We can do this one a bit quicker than the first one. It's not as hard. Um, so I'll put the answer key back up so that you can be reminded of what is what here. You know what? I'll show you the letters once again, and then we will go ahead and put the answer key up so you can be reminded of which one is which in the glass. All right. Putting that back up. You saw that's what's going on. The winner for me is going to be the Crystal Cut Glencairn here. I believe this is the Ledaig 10. It is definitely a wheelhouse whiskey for me. It's a comfort whiskey. I think I've gone through 2 bottles of this in recent years, both purchased for me as loving gifts by my partner in crime here, Kyla. Thank you, Kyla, so much. I'm gonna, if I had to guess, I'm gonna guess that it's actually the Craigallechie 13 in this black glass here. Um, that's my guess. But again, blinds are difficult. I challenge you guys to do blinds at home if you don't already. They're super fun. You learn a lot from doing blinds. So I'm going to remove this answer key. We're going to go to the big board or the mini board, I guess. All right, the mini board. There it is. Oh, it's glory. So I'm going to be eliminating the black glass. Let's go to the board. Black and black is E. What was E? All right, I got to go back to the legend here. E was the Craigallechie 13. My suspicions were confirmed. Yeah, you know, it's a worthy adversary for any bottle on this table. It is it punches way above the sale price in Alberta of $50. If you're in Canada, if you have access to the Albertan market, Craigallechie 13 is a bottle you need on your shelf, in my opinion. This Craigallechie 13 though, in all its splendor. I just learned recently from James Bourne that Stranger and Stranger, they do the labels for Compass Box. They also did this label here, which is probably why it's such a phenomenal one. Craig Alley 13, down out. I gotta catch something here before it disappears. It's a super chat. Sheldon Kerr. Sorry, I can't stay. I'll catch it on the replay tonight with something good to celebrate. Congrats on 1 year. Keep up the great work. Cheers, Matt. How do I display this? This has to get. Oh man, where is the super? No, I'm sorry, Sheldon. I'm not able to display this. Oh, there we go. Awesome, found it right there. Um, I was gonna mention later on. Um, Sheldon, Noteworthy Whiskey. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you really should. He puts up whiskey reviews. He puts up his flights for the weekend and what he's drinking. He's also doing some spoken word kind of whiskey commentary, talking about bottles. Great stuff, Sheldon. Thank you so much for all the support this year. Thank you for all the comments back and forth for the community that we were getting between Instagram and here. It's been great chatting with you. thank you once again for all the support, and thank you for this super kind and generous super chat. Um, yeah, I hope you catch it on the replay, but if not, man, I will catch up with you later. Slunge. Wow, awesome. Okay, so Craigallechie 13 has bowed out. It is cast asunder, and this crystal Glen here, it will be moving on. It will be moving on to the next round. So we got green and we got the crystal glass moving on. We have one more duo before we have our final round, our final battle in this blind. So let's move these over. We got the blue glass. We got the red glass. Now we're gonna catch up on a couple of these comments real quick because I had to skip a bunch, way down to the bottom in order to catch that super chat in time. Um, this is my third live, guys. You think I'd be better at this by now, but bear with me. Awesome. Okay. I love that the fact you guys all talk whiskey the entire time. This is amazing. Yeah. Does anyone think that was a bad beat? That was a bad beat with Craigallechie going out. Does everyone agree that what I suspect is Ledaig is the right choice there? Hexagonal Crank, I was talking about you earlier, man. I was talking about you earlier. Thank you for jumping on here. Congrats on all the success. Can't stay, dude, due to my cruddy internet. I'll catch the replay later. Yeah. Get on Elon Vision or Starlink or whatever it's called. I don't know if that would help. Sir, your internet is not cooperating there, man. Um, but yeah, thanks for all the support. Thanks for the samples, man. And we'll talk soon for sure. Cheers, Hex. I wish Matt would wear more Finnish hockey hats. Yeah, Smolmy. Maybe I should dig out a Team of Solani jersey or something. We could maybe make that work. I don't know. Jarkko Ruutu Vancouver Canucks jersey a la early 2000s. That would be excellent. Love the Finnish hockey. Yeah, this is that cracks me up. Sandra Matt, FYI, the Ardent American Sherry cask is peated, and since you enjoy peat, yeah, yeah, that's again another thing. I think it's sold out in Alberta now, and it didn't come to BC, so I might have to live through that sample I have and nothing else. Maybe I'll do that as a sample review for you guys because again, I like to bring you my thoughts on them, but it definitely slows me down getting to them, and then by the time I actually decide that I like them, it's too late. They're already gone. They're sold out, which is probably a good thing for my pocketbook. More money left over for Christmas gifts, I guess. Let's see here. Um, Gord, Bourbon Rye fan as well at Distinctions picked up Stag, MLCC pick, Eagle Rare, Old Forester Single Barrel, Angels Envy Rye, Blanton's Gold, and Lefroy 10 cast. Dang, you got a friggin' haul there. That's awesome. How much did you pay for the Angels Envy Rye? We saw a big price drop here in BC on the Angels Envy Rye, which actually made it somewhat appealing. Yeah, it dropped from $130 Canadian to 99, and I've now seen it on sale for $80. So yeah, interesting. Tim, back from Scotland recently, right, Tim? Back from Scotland. I've not tried any tequila finished. Rum finished are generally very hit or miss with me. Latest Kilkerran 15 has some rum cask in the mix, but not overpowering. Um, Maybe it was the Kilkerran 16. It might be the 15. I thought the 16, yeah, did have rum cask in the mix, not overpowering. Interesting. I saw we had the Cadenheads Enigma 15 drop in Alberta yesterday at Kensington Wine Market, and that was a mixture of I think Hazelburn 15-year-old and Kilkerran 16-year-old. That was very tempting to splash out some cash on. I think it was like $120 Canadian. I've had some tequila finished whiskeys. Actually, and mezcal more so than tequila. Not something that's jived with me so far, but I'm definitely open to trying more and more of them. And Pill saying, haven't had a Ledaig yet. That I didn't like the Rioja cask. Yeah, the Sinclair series is like 39 euros. If we could get that in Canada, I'd be all over. Have had samples, have a sample on the shelf here. Man, why is that not in Canada? There's no explanation that is satisfactory to me. Whoever is importing uh Ledaig, Bunnahabhain, get on your game. Why do we not have the 12 cast strength? Why do we not have the Ledaig 18? Why do we not have the Ledaig Sinclair? I know it can't go everywhere, but it seems like other distributors are able to get those in those sorts of bottlings into Canada. Um, Fix yourself. I don't know how else to say it. We love the whiskey. Let us have a shot at it. Peter White, those Craigallechie 13s for $48 on sale in Alberta are for sure a no-brainer pick. Yeah, yeah. I'm tempted to pick up a case, honestly. Again, if finances weren't a consideration, I'd pick up a 6-pack right now. It would be worth it, and then I'd have all the Craigallechie 13 I need for probably the rest of my life. Yeah, $50. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a phenomenal thing. Gregoire, confirming what James Bourne told me about that. Yep, Stranger and Stranger did the work on the design of all Dewar's Bacardi distilleries and others too. Yeah, so like the Altmore label, like the Foggy Moss and all that. Yeah, cool stuff. Really, really like that. Okay, this is this is hilarious. This is Whiskey Armageddon. It's chaos, and we haven't even gotten to the chaos bottle yet. Oh, I just realized something. Oh, man. Okay, Christine. Oh, and Tim. Okay, wait. This is you guys. Oh, my word. Tim, $10 super chat. I snagged that Ledaig 18 when I was in Oban a few weeks ago. That might be my Christmas dram. I think you'll love that. I think you will. Thank you so much, Tim, for all the comments on the channel over the months. For being around, hanging around. I love all your posts on the Aquavite Barflies site too. Man, you sounded like you had a time in Scotland. That was a great time. I think you got to the whiskey festival too, but was following your travels to Campbelltown and everywhere else. Yeah, way to be, man. I'm glad you got there. I'm glad you got there, and that was an experience I'm sure you'll remember for a long, long time. Thank you so much for the generous super chat. That's awesome. And following up, Christine, single malts add up. Here's a small contribution. Thanks for all the enjoyment on your terrific channel. Thank you, Christine. That's so sweet and incredibly generous, especially given the time of year. I know this is an expensive time for everyone, so thank you. I will raise a glass of this, what I think is Bunnahabhain 12. I'll raise a glass of green glass, to you guys. Slunge. Thanks for being here on the West Coast with me. All right, back on track. Back on track here. Getting to these. I'm gonna get a sip of water. I'll show you the letters on the bottom of these glasses. I'll show you the legend, and we'll get to nosing and tasting these. Got to be considerate of the time here for you guys too. All right, red glass is gonna be up there. Blue glass is gonna be up there. Okay. Dang colds, don't they know that there's whiskey to be drank? All right, answer key going up. Answer keys right here. Um, with what I know for eliminated bottles, we got A. A has been knocked out. The underdog that everyone seems to be rooting for these days. Craigallechie 13, a big favorite. Craigallechie 13 has been knocked out. That leaves D, B, C, and F. Pardon me, guys. My word. D, B, C, and F. I have my suspicions on what might be to come in this round. So I'm going to remove that. We're going to throw up a slide while I start nosing and tasting these to try and keep this interesting for you guys. We had a big year, and part of our big year was our first ever trip to the UK. We went to London, and then after London, we took a train up to Edinburgh and started our own little Scottish odyssey. And so we did a video just breaking down um, the beginnings of our trip there, what we were going to be doing with our, we were off to the UK. Way more people watch that than I thought. You never know when you're doing something that's not explicitly whiskey, if how it's going to be received, if people are going to watch it. So that's Kyla in the picture with me right there, the lovely Kyla. And yeah, we just talked about our trip and what we were going to be doing. From that trip, we posted an Isla trip update that took, I believe, probably like 8 hours to upload, even though it was probably a 4 minute video. Um, Uploading videos on Isla or in Campbelltown or anywhere else seemed nearly impossible with Airbnb internet. So I had aspirations to bring more content with me. I brought the microphone, we had the tripod. It just wasn't going to work. So yeah, if we go back, we'll come up with a different plan for what we can do to bring you guys more content, maybe distillery tours, tastings, these sorts of things. Um, but honestly, I just really wanted to enjoy the experience, be fully immersed in the experience in Scotland. But this was a huge highlight of the year, and I think without the channel, the trip would have looked a lot different. And I don't know if we would have gotten as much as we did out of our stops in Campbelltown, our stops in Isla, and even my tour at Holyrood Distillery, which recently released their Arrival #1. I released a 10 Isla travel tips video just from my experience, what I gleaned. And I showed you guys the ridiculous lot of whiskey I brought back with me. Thanks for the assist, to Canadian Border Services guards. You came through big in assisting me in not taxing too much of it for me. So I appreciate it. Actually, you didn't tax any of it somehow. So mad respect. Thank you so much. I declared it all. They just didn't seem to care. Red glass. There's a mustiness to this. Definitely a bit musty. Some it's like soft red fruits like raspberry, some leather and earthiness, a light wisp of smoke. There's malt, milk chocolate. This is a classy dram. It's not as big on the nose as the others. A lot more reserved, more shy. Yeah. This is a comfort dram for me. Yeah, that's a great nose. I know where I think I'm taking this one right now. I think I know where this is going. If you want more tasting notes on what's in glass, the red glass, I would suggest you check out my second review, launched exactly 1 year ago today. But that's my suspicion. And I'll say more about that in a moment. Gord Ledrew, summer might be Craigallechie 13, but in the winter, it's definitely, yeah, Ledaig 10. Yeah, no. Again, with the snow flurries coming down right now, it doesn't snow here all that often, but it's snowing right now. It's pretty. I like the snow. Greg Warwick chiming in on Angel's Envy. Haven't tried the Angel's Envy yet. It's newly imported here and saw the first bottles in a show, but there were too many stands to visit in the past. But yeah, I think I watched your breakdown video there, Gregoire, on your channel. Gregoire's got a great channel, guys. You guys have to check it out if you haven't already. And I'll say more on that a little bit later. But Gregoire has some great friggin' content on YouTube. He put up Ardent American versus the Alarace Hirak recently as well. Great video. But you did your breakdown about Whiskey Lie Paris, and it sounded like you definitely leaned into the French whiskeys hard. Definitely got the lay of the land there. And yeah, that was more French whiskey than I've ever heard of in my life in your breakdown. So that was really great. Gregor also loves the Kilkerran 16. He tried it. It's on your wish list now. And Gord is confirming, yeah, Angel's Envy, $100 Manitoba. That's the same price here in BC for the Angel's Envy Rye, the Caribbean rum cask finish. I've got a store local to me that has it for $80 right now. And it's calling my name. It's calling my name, but I gotta make sure I buy responsibly and drink responsibly. It's the time of the year, guys, where we all overindulge a little bit. Be careful, be safe, take care of yourselves. I want to be able to talk to you guys at a later date too, right? Yeah, and if you like that one, Barrel Seagrass is a treat. And that's also using rum casks with the rye, if I'm not mistaken. And the whiskey of the year in Canada from the Canadian Whiskey Awards last year was the Sons of Vancouver Palm Trees and a Summer Breeze, which was a rum cask rye. Rum cask and rye seems like the ticket. It is a great way to present rye, it seems. Rob from Whiskey in the Six was a tad underwhelmed with the Ardent American Sherry cask. It is still available for malts and grains for 88 all in. Okay, it's not a store I ship from often. Those shipping costs come up, but great tip on where I can find it if I enjoy it there, Peter. I've got the Aquavite barflies, Ardent American, the blue barfly here as well. So I got to make sure. I got to make sure that there's not too much of Ardent American on the shelves. You can't have too much Ardent American. What I'm saying, if it wasn't a bit broke, do a super chat. I've been buying too much stuff lately. Sorry, man. Don't worry about that, Greg. Yeah, no, it's not an obligation. I appreciate the support in all the ways that it comes. Don't feel bad about that at all. And Peter White, I've seen the review and I kind of agree with it. It's based on one to try and to be taken with reservations, but also because that Berry Brothers and Rudd single cask I tried was way above the Ardent American OB, in my honest opinion. Interesting. I have only tried one Ardent American single cask so far from an indie, and that was from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. They have a number of Ardent American casks that have been coming out. Uh, Christine, visiting the distilleries in Scotland is so amazing. What an experience. Your trip together sounds spectacular. Loved watching how much fun you both had. It was a ton of fun, Christine. I hope you, if you have dreams of getting there, I hope you get there one day here soon as well. So, yeah, no, this is a comfort whiskey for me in the red glass here. It's a whiskey. I think if my suspicions are correct, that I've rinsed a couple bottles of. I got a extra cork of on the shelf over there as well. Turning to the blue glass. Okay, yeah. So different beast. There are more grain notes here, and what I'm meaning by grain notes is not like the grain sweetness. So there is sweetness here. There's lemon zest, some salinity, some coastal vibes. But the first thing that jumped out at me was almost like a rye spice. I know that there's no rye in here, but there's a spiciness on the nose that feels like it's coming from maybe like a rye bread loaf. Like that's sort of the sense there. So like rye loaf. Actually, that's exactly what it is. Good job, Matt. You got one. Um, yeah, under that though, coastal notes, sweetness, that lemon zest, that lemon note, apple, pear, orchard fruits there, but not going into the more stone fruits, not peach or apricot. At least not this day. Malty tones, malt sweetness, and a richness going towards like almost more towards like marzipan, like an almond paste sort of vibe. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I'll start sipping this palette here and we'll keep going with the comments. This is great. Talking about that bottle Anok 24. Rebranding is imminent. I am not enjoying hearing that because that is one of the best values in Scotch whiskey. I think it runs about 220 when it's not on sale here in Canada. And somehow that bottle has gone on sale for about 10-15% off. Which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. 24-year-old single malt of that quality. And if you like sherry influence, the latest batches I've seen, like Rob Whiskey in the Six, like the batch he had, killer sherry inclusion, like super dark. Yeah, great whiskey. I'm a little scared to hear there's a rebranding coming. Take lots of footage and release them when you get back home, Matt. I did enjoy all those videos. Thanks, Sandro. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's our plan for next time, I think, is to take all the footage separately. Don't try to update anything like that at all. Whiskey on the West Coast. It was great to get all these bottles back, Matt. You'll never reach the craziness of Phil and Deep and all those cases. They're next level with what they bring back and the customs guys. Yeah. I really enjoyed those videos. I think was it 3 luggage casefuls of whiskey. Hmm. In Ontario, the custom guys would have bent you over at the airport. Yeah, I planned landing in Calgary from Scotland, because of the more favorable taxes when importing. You have to pay a flat rate per bottle in Alberta, as opposed to a percentage of the bottle value in every other province. And BC would have been the same. It would have been brutal. Ooh, this palette on this red glass. Mm, fruity, earthy. That musty dunnage note comes through again. Bit of funk, chocolate, raspberry. Oh, a bit of like milk chocolate fudge or something like that. Like I'm really getting the chocolate off this today, which isn't always um great funk, a bit of minerality to this. Um oh man. This is a rich again, this dram is vibing more towards the snowy weather we have in British Columbia today right now. Mm. And that peat. I love heavily peated whiskeys, but I think the whiskeys I appreciate all year round and the most might be those moderately peated whiskeys, which this is. That peat just lingers at the back of that palate, and it just follows through on the end with the sweetness, with a bit of oak tannin structure there, a bit of like tea notes, but all that plus the dessert tones, the fruit, and then it all just ends on this prevailing, softly drifting off whisper of peat. Yeah, yeah, I think you guys are getting an idea of where this head to head is probably going. Let's be fair to the blue glass here. Mm. On first sip, profiles a bit sharper, a bit more pepper, but that pepper is actually turning more towards a spiciness, as opposed to just black cracked pepper. Sweet tones turning into actually some really rich. Ooh, ooh, I need another sip there. The front of the palate is not as interesting as the actual development in the mid palate. Mm. There's some like it's a really nice meshing of shortbread cookies, white chocolate, and maybe a bit of like chalky, almost like oh, like saucers, like the chalk that you get in the saucers candies in the UK, or like Rockets candies in Canada. Um, a little bit of that, and then suddenly it just shifts into a super, super malty, rich overtone with a lot of oak structure just surrounding it. This has a real interesting development. It starts one place, goes to another, and then shifts gear entirely, and it downshifts into something much richer. So it starts more sharp, almost profile younger, and with some spice, shifts into those sweet dessert tones, and then morphs into something a lot richer. Really interesting. Mhm. That's engaging. I really like that malt tone. There's almost like a whisper of peat at the back end too, a whisper of smoke. I'm not sure what the cast makeup was on what I'm suspecting this to be. I think it was all ex bourbon, but like the actual malt spec, because they do so much weird stuff with smoking barrels and everything else like that. I'm not sure if they did that at all here. Mitch, Whiskey and West Coast Matter, are you planning another trip next year to include Glasgow Whiskey Festival? Oh man, that's the dream. That's the dream to get there for Glasgow Whiskey Festival. I saw the fun that all the barflies had at it and was super jealous. Um, yeah, hopefully one day. I can't make any promises on plans for next year. With work, it's really tough to book time off, and there's always things going on with family. But It's in the plans to one day make it over to Scotland. It's a long ways from the West Coast. The airfare tickets are quite something, but I hope one day. Craig, shall we all move to Matt's place then? I don't know if we'd all fit in my place, guys. You're welcome over anytime, though. Had to pass on the Anok 18, says Peter White, with reservation as it was on sale for 100th. I saw that sale, Peter. I also wanted to grab it. Christine, oh wow, it's snowing. It hasn't come to Vancouver yet. Yeah, here in Abbotsford, we're on the mountain, and it's snowing. It's flurries. Last time I checked, about an hour ago, hour and a half ago. And yeah, no, Kyla's telling me it's still snowing. Um, so I'll take that. Ala Harris versus Arden American, AD to be precise. Yeah, no, that was a great video, Greg. I really appreciated that comparison because that's the comparison I was trying to do in my mind because I know how much I paid for Arden American, which is about $80 on sale for that AD. And the Isla Harris landed here in Canada, in BC, for it was $150 plus 15% tax. So extra 22, 172.50 to buy that Isla Harris release. I passed on it myself. Gord, did you pick up the KW Advent calendar? First sample of Daphne 15 castering was phenomenal. I've had the Daphne 15 castering. I did not pick up the KWM Advent calendar though. I put that money towards bottles instead. I take part in a lot of the KWM virtual tastings. You might see me on there every once in a while. I really love, yeah, I love getting on there. KWM is probably the best whiskey shop in Canada. But I had to make hard decisions, and hard decisions included picking up bottles instead of the Advent calendar. I hope you're enjoying it though. If you picked it up, well, I guess you did. If you had the Daphne 15 cast strength, that how crazy is that bottle's still available at KWM? It's like $275, but the fact it's available is pretty cool. Peter White, Angel's Envy Rye is cloyingly sweet and more like a liqueur. Yeah, and I've heard some stuff about what they actually put in it. Since it's not a straight rye, there could be some additives. So I've been hesitant to jump on the Angel's Envy Rye, even though it's a great price on sale for $80 near me. I have a sample of it that I'm working through, thanks to Watchman 999. Thank you, Watchman, for those samples. That was phenomenal. Really great to meet you this past summer as you were coming through the valley. Um, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one to toss up, and it is sweet. It's very, very sweet. I have a little bit of the sample left, and I will make my decision if I'm going to pick up a bottle. Christine, on that Angel's Envy, $80 for it is amazing. I have a bottle and I got it for 99 at the BC liquor store. I have to start looking more ordering from Alberta. I also need to scout around for lower prices locally. So that $80 Angel's Envy is actually not in Alberta. That is in Chilliwack, British Columbia, the town I grew up in here in the valley. One over, and that's in Chilliwack. That's in BC. It's a phenomenal price. If you're through Chilliwack, let me know and I'll tell you where to pick that up. Yeah. Yep, I'm currently a boom in French whiskey. I was away for a bit and so took some time. So now happy to see more choices than ever. 130 plus distilleries in France, 83 operational with a finished product. That's great to see. I mean, if we ever hit a whiskey lock, it's going to be tough for a lot of whiskeys. They're really going to have to rely on their local clientele to really pick up if exports slow down due to a whiskey lock and just overproduction, oversupply. But right now, whiskey business is booming. So good to see French whiskey coming in hot. Sugar Kitty, meow back. Welcome here, Sugar Kitty. Thanks for dropping in. Always great to have you here. Yeah. Okay. So I've tasted both these whiskeys. I gave some notes. I think I know what my winner is already. I can give a few more notes, but I believe the red glass is Benromach 10. That is a whiskey near and dear to my heart, even though it's under proof. I think the 43%, if it is Benromach 10, I think that's why the nose came off a lot shyer. It also is a lower fill level on the table here. So that could be impacting as well, just bottle effects. So I'm going to suggest that I'm going to say the red glass is the winner in this head to head between the red and the blue. That would leave this being the Shelter Point 10. It did good. It did great. To be able to stand up here and go toe to toe with any of these whiskeys is a real feat. I don't think it was just up to the love I have in my heart for Benromach 10, if that's what I'm guessing here. And that's the problem with semi-blind review, blind tastings. You can cater them to make them really interesting, but you also have an idea what's in it. So yeah, so I'll remind you guys again of what's in each of these glass, what letter is on each one. So looking away, check the letter there. Do the same with the blue glass right there. We'll put up the legend and then we'll do the reveal. Legend there. I'm suggesting that the red glass is C, the blue glass is F. Going to the little board right here. So we're eliminating the blue glass. That means we reveal that one. So the blue glass, sorry, not the red. What am I doing, Matt? The blue glass is F. If I remember correctly, F's going to be the shelter point. Yes, shelter point. We hardly knew ye. Not something that's common to find all around the world. Hopefully one day it actually did really well in this. I really enjoyed it. I'm enjoying this pour. I have picked up the Shelter Point 12-year-old to do a comparison between the 10 and 12 to see what 2 more years of age does. So I hope to bring you guys that comparison and review in the future. Hopefully you're interested in that sort of content, some West Coast Canadian single malt whiskey. But for now, Shelter Point, down out. Okay, Shelter Point, take a seat. So we have our 3 finalists here. We have the red, have the green, have the crystal cut. Glen Garioch. I think I know what some of these are. I'm sure you guys know from me revealing it. These are all fantastic whiskeys, and it'll be a shame to actually have to pick a winner between them because that feels like something that's a near impossibility to do. There's a few more things I want to talk about our first year on whiskey on the West Coast here. I'm gonna add this here. I'm assuming most of you went ahead and watched the OSWAs, the Online Scotch Whisky Awards, and I watched as a spectator from a distance for a number of years, and I always really enjoyed them. They're honestly they're the whiskey competition that really hits for me because it's our choice, it's our voice. We're the ones being heard. It's a whiskey award for us, the whiskey enthusiasts. So I really was a big booster of them. And the fact that I actually got to be a small part of it this year was a huge highlight for me. I was floored to be included at all in the OSWAs. Some great awards handed out, a bit of controversy, a lot of discussion at the end about who received the awards for best single malt and others. I really enjoyed it. I hope to continue on and actually being a part of the OSWAs next year. But that was a stated goal. When I started out the channel, I was hoping to one day be part of the OSWAs, so we can check that box off the list and continue checking it. I want to be part of it again going forward. Roy and Ralphie, Aquavite and Ralphie.com. They gave so much time, so much money to putting all that in place for us, for the community. And I have to thank them for doing that. They do phenomenal stuff, obviously. And we rally around them because they are bringing us honest, unbiased opinions that aren't really bought by the whiskey industry. It's a refreshing honesty and approach, and especially Roy's approach is just it's so positive without pulling any punches. He'll still call out, to use a Ralphieism, flannel, and garbage practices, but he does so in a respectful, kind, and constructive way. So I really appreciate that approach. Highlighting here real quickly, Sugar Kitty in Australia, you would pray for the guys from Ontario instead. Oh man, we're having a battle of who's got it worse here. It's like another common whiskey person refrain. Yeah. Timothy T. Thomas. Congrats. 1 year already. Fast day. I know. Super friggin' fast. It flew by. It was a lot of work. I'm both at the same time. Um, floored that has only been a year, and also floored that it's not just yesterday. Time's a weird thing, guys. Time's a really weird thing. Yeah, and Sugar Kitty follow up every once in a while. Australia is too tired to deal with 3 suitcases full. Yeah, I can hear that. I could see an officer being like, "Yeah, I'm not dealing with that today." Next. So, we put this in here to show you where we're at, and this isn't to brag or anything about subscriber counts or anything like that, but, um, genuinely, I'm just, uh yeah, it's been so incredible to see the support, of people for this channel, what has grown. Honestly, honest to goodness, guys, when I hit that button last year on this day, and put a video live and immediately wanted to tear it down, immediately wanted to take it down. I was anxious and all hopped up on caffeine, from Tim Hortons. Um, I was worried about how things were gonna be, received, but I said out loud that I hoped to get 100 subscribers in my first year, and inside I was thinking, "Oh, maybe 250 would be great." To see where we've gotten to in a year is, yeah, it's something, and, I can only approach it with a spirit of, thankfulness. So thank you to every single one of you who've subscribed, who've stopped and given your time, because that is a transaction here. You are giving your time to being on this live stream, to watching these videos, to writing comments. I know writing comments, it takes time because writing responses takes time too. So yeah, thank you for all the support, guys. I really appreciate it. And let's see what the next year brings. I'm really excited. And in the spirit of thankfulness, the whiskey community is amazing. Whiskey community is just, again, such a positive place. Outside of hat comments, it's amazing to see how people rally around and just want to collaborate, and to just talk whiskey. And so on the screen here, I have a bunch of the channels that have commented, have subscribed, have sent me personal messages, or have helped me in other ways. And so some of the ones here, top left hand corner, Bigger Than Me podcast, Aaron Pete. I went on Aaron's podcast twice now, one recently, but he invited me on to talk whiskey just as a friend, and I was apprehensive. I didn't know if that was for me, if I was good enough to talk whiskey, if I had the right words or the right things to say. And I went on there and it was a lot of fun, but I came out kind of crestfallen, like, man, that was brutal. I did such a terrible job. And when it came out, and it was well received, and I got lots of encouragement and support. And that was he was the person who really sparked it, like, no, you have to do a YouTube channel. You have to do this. You have to pursue this. And he was on me, on top of me. And without Aaron, this channel wouldn't have started. So thank you, Aaron. Tribs and Drabs, the Whiskey Scribe, Nonsense Whiskey. You guys probably recognize all these whiskey channels already, but everyone watches everyone's videos, everyone comments. Whiskey Friend, um, of Aquavite, Roy. Roy is just such a big part of this community and connecting people, bringing people together. The Glasgow Whiskey Festival, Prime Whiskey, Whiskey Explorer, McIntyre's Malts down in Australia, doing big things. Multicasking, the Whiskey Enthusiast, Sir Tug, man, you're killing it there in Turkey. Love always seeing your comments. Love watching your videos. Rob Whiskey in the Six. The day I got a comment for Rob Whiskey in the Six, and just a vote of confidence, that was a huge day. I think I like ran to find Kyla. I was like, Kyla, Rob commented. Yeah, I was super excited. I had that moment over and over again as people checked in and saw the videos and let me know what they thought. Whiskey Heathens in Alberta, I believe in Fort Mac. You guys always fun watch. John with Just Whiskey. Um, dude, you're great. You gave me so much support early on. Shout outs in your video. I love that you're commenting on the videos too, man. You do great stuff. You definitely sold me on the Lefroy Cartridge 2023 with your review, and I picked up a bottle. I'm loving it. Leanne, Scotch on the Bayou, Slancha y'all. You're such a sweetheart, Leanne, and you're killing it down there in Louisiana. So yeah, I hope you make it to the Victoria Whiskey Festival again. Thank you for all the support, Leanne. I hope to see you at the Victoria Whiskey Festival. That'd be freaking cool. Whiskey Whereabouts. I'm getting familiar with your channel recently. Dude, you're doing great videos. John, Whiskey Neighbor. That's exactly how you come off, man. You're just like the neighbor next door, friendly, kind. It was a treat meeting you at BC Distilled. Thank you for all the videos you put out there, John. Gregoire, I was saying earlier, you do fabulous content, man. You're a wealth of whiskey knowledge. You're like a walking whiskey encyclopedia. I love having you a part of these live streams, commenting on the videos, man. You're rocking it there in France. I can't thank you enough for the support. Jeff with G Whiskey, man, you've been checking in on some of the videos. You are absolutely on fire. Your list videos and your sense of humor, more than anything, are just. I think that's what really draws people. Obviously, you've got lots of great things to say about the whiskey, but you're a hilarious guy, especially that Osma video. That was that was hilarious with the squirrels. And Four Leaf Whiskey, I believe it's Stacy reviewing the Irish whiskey. Um, Man, you deserve so many more subscribers than you haven't already. If you have an interest in Irish whiskey, go check out Stacey's channel. She's just fantastic. She's great. Okay, enough exposition in that way, guys. There's another thank you at the end here, but let's get to these whiskeys. Let's get back to this challenge. Um, I'm gonna start this by going with green first. I'm then gonna go to red and then crystal. I'll remind you guys what's in these glasses. Pardon me one moment while I mute. Will I ever be over this cold? Who knows? Let's find out. All right. So I'm going to show you what's on the bottom of this label. I'm looking away. Da, 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 da. I think you guys can see that there. Show you what's in the red glass here. Think you probably should be able to catch that. And the crystal glass. I'll pop the legend back up. Hopefully that worked. That's the legend right there. We're going to be starting off with the green glass. We'll get to some comments here as we taste, nose this, come up with a winner in this blind tasting. Let's see here. Let's see. And this is such. It's tough to beat Bunnahabhain 12. That's what I'm calling is in this glass. This is Bunnahabhain 12. It's just, oh, I love the coastal effect there. Loving this black licorice like note. Loving the dark sherried overtones, but it's not overdone. It's not overdone sherry. It's like a nice, wonderful balancing act of sherry. Yeah. Oh man. All right, taking a sip. Mm. Lovely balancing act between the cask play, with those sherry tones, the leather. I'm guessing the black licorice is coming from those sherry casks too, and then the maltiness coupled with that fresh sort of like sea spray note down in the back, getting the malt. It's a classic dram. It's a classy dram, and for the price that you used to be able to get in Alberta, it was phenomenal value. Um, but that ship has sailed in BC. It's $100, works out to $115 Canadian. It I don't know if I did redid the list next year if it would pop into that top 10 affordable ranking. But yeah, oh man, such a good whiskey. Should mention that Black Flag Leather was a channel I didn't mention that was in that graphic. They aren't a whiskey channel, but Tim Black Flag Leather, he's local to me. Been a big supporter, early commenter, really gave me a bunch of tips on YouTube, and he also made these killer whiskey on the West Coast, coasters, leather coasters for us. I gotta show these off, a bit more on the channel. Maybe I'll do it on Instagram, but he made us a set of 4 coasters, and they look absolutely wildly cool. Um, Really talented guy. You should check him out on Instagram, on YouTube, see what he can do, with leather working. He's really talented. Thank you so much, Tim, for those coasters. We're using them today. Sugar Kitty. I enjoyed a bit of Shelter Point every now and then. And again, it's very different in a positive way. Not the kind of thing that's an everyday, yeah, dram for you. Yeah, but glad they made a deal to get it into the U.S. market. Yeah, I'm glad it's getting a bit more exposure elsewhere to get some more opinions on what's going on there. I'm glad you get to try it. Um, Gord saying, agree on the Angels Envy rye. Very sweet. Good for tastings with friends to try, not to drink beyond. Yeah, that's kind of my apprehension with the Angels Envy rye. It was very sweet. Someone mentioned before, it's almost like a whiskey liqueur. That's how I would take it for sure. Sugar Katie Ardna is made to be a combo of both peated and unpeated, so it really should be the combined product instead of a single cask. Yeah, I tend to agree because I've really enjoyed the AD that I have on my shelf. It's nearly rinsed. It's nearly an empty bottle. That was an earlier batch, like a 01, 2101. Um, but yeah, I think I'd miss the peat if it wasn't there. Christine, yeah, the awards were fabulous. Yeah, the Oswalds were fantastic. Congratulations, man, on Oswald participation. Well deserved. Thanks, Sandro. I was very excited to be a small part of supporting that initiative. Can't say enough good about the Oswalds. To me, the real issue with the Oswald is mostly in the selection. It's why the secondary votes of fan favorite mean more to me. Yeah, the write-in votes, the choice ones where you get to write in. I love seeing that part. That part's actually probably the best part. You're bang on there. Let's see here. Sugar Kitty and another Canadian falls victim to addiction. Hashtag Timmy crack. Yeah, Timmy hose. Timmy hose is everywhere. Um, yeah, it's pervasive. Mitch, a number of cads and bounders in that slide. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a ton of just great channels in that slide. Thank you to all of them for supporting this. Uh, G knows how to spell. Thanks a lot, Matt. Oh no, yeah, it's well deserved, Gregor. You do great stuff on the channel. I only can't watch channels that go live from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. Man, you pretty much get them all then, eh? Did I get a Bunnahabhain 12 cast strength 2023 bottle? I don't see it down there. No, I don't see it down there, but yeah, I did. I did. I had a buddy who traveled to San Antonio, Texas, who was able to get a bottle of Bunnahabhain 12 cast strength. Joel, commenter on the channel. Thank you so much, Joel, for picking that up, swiping me a bottle, bringing it back on the plane. Wasn't able to get the 2022. That's been so legendary. But I do have the 2023, and um, I will be cracking that in the future here. 2022 was amazing. That 2020 just couldn't keep up. Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. I won't be able to make up my mind because on that because I won't have access to the 2022. But I will say that that I'm going to look forward to trying the 2023. Gregor, I don't agree, Matt. But a 12 for me. It's beaten by a lot of independently bottled releases. I found it too thin and undecided on the palate. I think I know why, but personal blender's choice too frustrating dram for me. Yeah, that's a fair take. That's a fair take. It's not as like oily, viscous. It doesn't have as quite as much heft on the palate as others. And I am buying a lot more independently bottled Buna these days. I bought the Buna Fagile release. Um, at 60, it's like $66 for this. So I'm not getting independently bottled Buna at that price. But I take your point very well, Gregoire, that there's better presentations of the Buna 12. Still, I think for something that is available across seemingly all markets, I think it's still a pretty broad dram. Hmm. Okay, Buna 12 coming in hot here, coming in strong. Apologies, Greg, as I was naively unaware of your channel. We'll rectify soon. Awesome. I'm glad that that you can be made aware of Greg's channel this way. Yeah, no, get on, check out his channel. Um, and Sugar Kitty, do you want to risk sending a sample? I can send you a sample of the Buna Castring 2022. I won't ask you of that just because you're sending it across a border. If you declare it, they're gonna seize it, and then it'll be a wasted dram, and then your postal expenses. I really appreciate the offer, Sugar Kitty. That's really kind of you. Um, but I would suggest until I get a U.S. postal box that will receive alcohol, it's probably best to hold on to it to yourself. All right, I'm gonna move on to the red glass. Red glass to me, because I am a peat peatophile, um, emphasis on the peat, um, because I love peated whiskeys. Oh man, yeah, this this immediately is more interesting to me on the nose than the Bunnahabhain. It really is. It is definitely my jam. Oh man, it is rich on the nose. I don't think. I mean, obviously, I'd like this at a higher ABV for what I'm suspecting it is. I suspect it's a Benromach 10. Um, but this is. I could drink this morning, noon, and night, and I could nose it and find it interesting the entire time too. Oh, I'm picking up a little bit of orange now in the nose too. Actually, I didn't mention that earlier. It was all on the peat, on the leather, on the earthiness, the rich, the funk, the kind of like Dunnage Warehouse notes, bit musty. Yeah, man. Mm. This is the Benromach 10, and you've been turning your nose down on it. Um, because it's 43%. I understand it doesn't have the same grip on the palate. It's not as viscous as it should be. There's a lot of things going on there. I would suggest that Benromach 2013 cask strength that I mentioned earlier. It was mentioned in the chat. I do suggest that over the 10-year-old. However, I still see a lot of merit in the 10-year-old, even with its knocks. Yeah, that's a good whiskey. Mm, yeah. All right. Moving on to the crystal glass, big peat blast, those iodine coastal notes, sweetness from those, I'm assuming, are ex bourbon casks. I have noticed this is Ledaig 10, which, let's just be honest, it's going to be Ledaig 10. Nothing is peated as heavily as this in these glasses and these bottles beside me here. I noticed that the most recent bottling of Ledaig 10, 2023 bottling on our shelf here in BC is um, much lighter. Now, whether that transfers over to the nose and palate, who knows? It could just be lighter. But it was stark. It was a contrast. Now, my previous bottle of Ledaig 10 before that was also lighter. This one was much darker. This batch, if I take a look at the back here, oh, this batch is from 2020, 192nd day of 2020. I can't do the math right now on when that would be. But that's a 2020 bottling that I'm pulling this dram from. The 2023 was much lighter. However, I really liked my earlier bottle of Ledaig 10 that was later. So, for batch variation, they're giving it to us a natural color. They're not trying to make it all uniform. I appreciate that. And so I'm not going to hold that against it unless I try it and it's just maybe been using much more tired refill casks. Refill casks are great for that long age. But for something 10 years old, a more active cask is probably preferred. Mm. Hot damn. What a whiskey. What a whiskey. Oh, I gave you guys tasting notes on this earlier. I feel like most of you will have had the Ledaig 10. For me today, this is my comfort zone. I've been trying to scoop up independently bottled Ledgigs lately. Um, and they're just going up in price astronomically. It's getting tough to get your hands on any of it here. Um, yeah, really shot up in price. However, some of those more expensive bottlings, there was a whiskey sponge, Ledaig 17 or 18-year-old from 2005, and it was priced at about 500 and plus dollars Canadian. And I was like, how are you charging that price for that bottle? And obviously Angus McRail knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing with cask picks. Um, and the picks the supply he's picking from and Signatory there are just killer stocks. I tasted it and I was like, okay, I get it. I get why this is priced at over $500. So I'm a big fan of Ledaig. And it was a thrill to be able to visit the distillery on Tobermory. I wish they had more available in the tasting room to be able to try. I wish they catered more to those people who are visiting in that way because it's actually right where you get dropped off by the bus in Tobermory. It's where you start. You start in front of the distillery. I didn't go on a tour at the distillery. Didn't do a warehouse tasting. Didn't have time for that because we were exploring the city. Would love one day to get back to Mull, tour the distillery, Tobermory, and then probably pop on the ferry and take the ferry over to Ardnamurchan. That'd be a dream. Yeah, let's get some chat here. Sandro, in my opinion, Benromach 10 warrants 1 or 2 single drops of water and the peat increases. Have you ever tried it like this? I have added water to it. I'm always a little bit tense to do so because of it's already proofed down a bit, but that would be a good idea just to get more aromatics to release a lot of that, and also just to possibly see if it makes the palate a bit more creamy, a bit more viscous. Oftentimes that is the case. Mm. You know what? Taste it through these glasses. Why don't I try adding a little bit of water here? I can find my water dropper. Yeah, here we go. Water dropper. Good idea, Sandro. We'll add some water, let them sit, hopefully catch up on the comments, and then we'll come to a winner and we'll sign off for the day. Thanks for being with me here, guys, today. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you for indulging me in something like a 1 year on YouTube live stream again. A little self-conscious to bring the spotlight on myself and Kyla and what we're doing on Whiskey on the West Coast in that way, but it's what we do in the creator sphere. It seemed great, and it also just seemed like a great excuse to drink great whiskey with great people and to talk whiskey. So for that reason, I was on board. So thank you for being here. We'll just coat the glass, let these settle. No shaky shaky. Shout out to Ralphie. I have wondered, you see stats on YouTube Studio, you can see like what other people watch, like what people who watch your content, the other things they watch. And I do see that people that watch the channel here also watch Ralphie's videos. And it made me wonder, has Ralphie ever seen one of my videos? And if so, what did he think? Did he tear me to shreds? Greg, so I hope you'll have the occasion to try the following distilleries someday: Brora, Port Ellen, Bergslagens, close distillery from Sweden, and Kornog. Yeah, I think Kornog will probably be the most likely one I get to try there. I'd love to try Brora or Port Ellen. I'm sure they'd blow my mind. I did pick up an SMWS bottling this year that was said to be the most brewer like bottling that wasn't brewer that the person had ever hosting had ever come across. Um, so yeah, I hope so too one day, Gregor. It's tough to come by those. And it's not a distillery, but the peated expression from Celtic whiskey distillery. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for Cornell there. Love, love, love peated single malts. Lag 16 was your entryway into bliss. So many people. I believe Roy, his first loves in whiskey were both Glengoyne, but also the Lagavulin 16-year-old. It's a sentiment I've heard echoed over and over, Christine, and I'm glad you were a convert to single malt Scotch whiskey through that Lagavulin 16. Talisker was a gateway drug for Sugar Kitty. I could see that too. Absolutely. The Talisker 10 has made people lifelong whiskey fans. Gregoire, a long time. I haven't tried the Ledaig 10 to be honest. Same problem for me as the Bunna. I always prefer my IBs, though I enjoy the pre-distill official bottling 7-year-old expression. Haven't had that one. I did come across a Ledaig recently, an aged Ledaig that basically was unpeated, but was certainly Ledaig. So that was really interesting to see. And how Angus and Serge know their stuff. Absolutely. They are whiskey reviewing royalty at this point. I would put them in the upper echelon, as would I'd say most others who follow it very closely. Yeah, yeah, Mitch, Dame Judy Hench, still laughing at that name. Um, Legic 10 is a perma shelf all day long. Yeah, no, I'm there with you too. IB Taliskers can be killer too. Yeah, the tacticals as well. I found an IB Talisker from a few years ago on a shelf, a dusty 8-year-old that was $270 Canadian, and I just couldn't bring myself to pay that money. Just couldn't do it. Tim Locks. I think I'm on my fourth bottle of Benromach 10 in 2 years. An anxiety-free dram. So affordable and available. Benromach and Glen Scotia top malts, top my lists for availability and reasonable prices here in Cali. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on the Benromach 10 there in that rate. I love my Glen Scotia. I didn't get to tour Glen Scotia. Tim, did you get to tour Glen Scotia when you were in Campbelltown? I did meet Ian McAllister though, and had the fortune to be able to pour him some shelter point. He was very kind and reciprocating with a cast sample of Glen Scotia. Can't say enough good about the hospitality he gave me that day. Great guy, great stuff coming out of Glen Scotia. Sugar Kitty, only downside to me is both Toby and Ledaig somewhat middling in the length of the finish. Wish it could just keep going on and on and on. Yeah, I could see that. With the Ledaig, it doesn't. It invites another sip earlier than you'd like. I put it that way, which is just another way to say exactly what you said. I agree. Mm, I do love it though. Oh, I love it. Okay, and Greg's saying the easiest way to try cornog online through the Whiskey Exchange. The Whiskey Exchange doesn't ship to Canada, even Alberta. So far, Tindrum whiskey ships to Canada, as does Royal Mile Whiskies. So the one time I've shipped from the UK, I was able to ship that to a friend in Alberta who then shipped it to me. It is a chore, and I don't want to put that strain on my friends in Alberta too often, but I'll keep that in mind. Gordon, I assume you tried the Benromach Contrast Peat Smoke Sherry Cask. Trying it now with comparison to the Killoman Sanic. That's a good comparison. I did find a dusty Benromach Contrast Peat Smoke Sherry Cask the other day on clearance. Not the other day, I guess it was a while ago. It was on clearance for about $65 Canadian. And it was the last one they did that was sherry matured instead of sherry finished. So I'll get around to cracking that sometime soon. But yeah, I'm a big supporter, big booster of Benromach. I love the stuff. Sandro, it is we who thank you, Matt. You share detailed and fair reviews, which are much appreciated. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Sandro. I really appreciate that. Uh, Tim, Glen Scotia 8 P to PX, maybe my favorite. Haven't uncorked the Glen Scotia 12 Mermaid yet. Yeah, that's a Palo Cortado cask whiskey, I think. It just launched for 220 in Alberta the other day. And I've passed on it so far, but I've got in the back of my mind in case there's an order from Alberta in the making in the future. And Sugar Kitty, historically, most independently bottled Taliskers are on profile, not worth the money. Also, one or two of those were just horrid, and that's being generous. I'm glad I passed up on the 8-year-old for 270, even if it was good. I don't know if it's worth that. We all respect Ralphie and Food Quig, for instance, among the very first to do videos. Ralphie's one being more on the educational side. Yeah, Food Quig. Shout out to Food Quig out in Victoria. Wonder if he'll be at the Victoria Whiskey Festival. Maybe I'll get a chance to meet him. Yeah, the Quig is legendary. Quig is legendary. Going back to this green glass here. Yeah, if you didn't like Pete, I could see this being the winner on this table today. Mm. I haven't actually announced on the channel yet, or on Instagram, that I am going to the Victoria Whiskey Festival for the first one, but I am, and that's going to be my first big real whiskey festival I've attended. I'm super excited. Gordon McPhail's going to be there. Holyrood's going to be there. Killoman is going to be there. Actually, our tour guide from Killoman, I think her name was Emma McCary. She's going to be there. I'm stoked. It was a lot of money to put out, but yeah, I'm super excited to get to the island, get to Vancouver Island, possibly meet a few people. James Wright is out in Victoria. He's been saying if I ever come by, let him know. So yeah, I'm excited to get to Victoria, guys. Get to a real whiskey festival. Let's say I'm sure it won't be like the Glasgow Whiskey Festival or Whiskey Live Paris or anything like that. But I'm excited, and as best I can, I'd love to bring you a summary or a wrap up of that once I get back from the Victoria Whiskey Festival. I think it's on January 18th, 19th, that area there, that weekend. So that's coming up after Christmas. Hmm. There's a bit of debate about Talisker independent bottles. All right. Oh man, I still like that Bunnahabhain 12. I know it's not as good as some of the IBs could be. I think for making a product that has to go in such large batches, they've done a good job with this 12. I have heard a lot about batch variation with the 12s and the 18s with the Bunnahabhain, but it was a joy to visit the distillery too. The distillery was a great visit. The Warehouse 9 tasting was awesome. Our guide was great, and the canasta cask. Ooh, the canasta cask is in one of these mini bottles back here. That's what sold me on the Fagio release canasta because I loved that. That was something I hadn't had before, kind of like a cream sherry, matured whiskey, and it was phenomenal. So yeah, Bunna doing good things. Sugar Kitty, not a matter of luck with his independently bottled Talisker at 90s bottle was the talk of online for a while. Knew ahead of time and never bought. Just got a sample. For some obscure so-called legal reason, the mermaid is forbidden to come to France due to officially its label showing a woman. That's to say the very least. That's odd. I've always thought France was fairly liberal with advertising and those sorts of things because my first impression when I got to France, because my first ever flight was a 10 and a half hour nonstop flight from Vancouver to Frankfurt when I was moving to Germany. I took a fast train from Stuttgart to Paris. And as I got off the train in Paris, there was a poster board with like a topless woman in the train station. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm in France. I'm shocked that that wouldn't be allowed. That's interesting. Yeah, you say she's not even naked. That is weird to me, Greg. I don't understand that at all. Back on the Talisker, the old IB Talisker done in rum barrels went green. Ooh, ooh. Okay. All right. This red glass. Hmm. Love that funky note. Love that funky tone. Love the richness of the palate. And rich flavors like again leather, dark fruits, the peat, earthiness to the peat. Certainly a Highland peat. This isn't Isla peat. This isn't medicinal. This isn't anything like that. It's not coastal. This almost profiles more towards a Springbank type of peat to me. I've been curious if they're getting their peat sourced from a similar place. I think um, I'm tracking down where the peat source is to come up with theories, but I see a lot of similarities. I've talked about it before. Others have. Springbank a Speyside. Someone's gonna hit me for saying Springbank a Speyside, but um, it could be better. It could be proofed up another 3%. But yeah, this is I like this a lot. Hmm. Gregoire is all over the chat here. Well, we'll have some guests. Will you have some guests in your live shows some days? At this hour, I mean. I'll then will have to tape less and slower. So the plans in the new year. One of the things I want to do is I want to invite people on to live streams once I know that this system will work. Having the chat breakdown last time spooked me a little bit. We've had some internet issues since we had our provider changed. So this was kind of a test to make sure things are all like working again. Um, and yeah, I'd love to start having people on in the future having guests because I'm sure it gets long. We're 2.5 hours almost in. with me talking here and drinking whiskey. So we're gonna wrap this up soon. Give my decision here. But yeah, we got plans in the works here, Gregor. And then, their French distributor told me recently this might not be the official reason, but they won't say it to me. And then, forgive me, Matt, you will no longer see that. And for other more controversial, not for me, but for some reasons, as she might be killed now for that, to be honest. Oh, I'm not sure. Connection can still be an issue indeed for me too. Yeah. Yeah, no, connection stuff can be troublesome. Can be troublesome. All right, capping that, Benromach. One more time to the Ledaig, and then quick comparison, and we'll wrap up. Yeah, I think I'm showing my cards here on my favorites. And it has to do with where I started off with on this channel too. Two of these whiskeys here were my first two reviews. Um, and I have a great respect for Bunnahabhain. But I'm starting to develop my two front runners here in this competition. Before I get to that, I want to add something else in here. It's just a thank you. Funding on YouTube and all that can be tough. You don't make much off of views. I can tell you that firsthand. Um, it racks up in pennies, not in dollars. Um, so for that reason, everyone seems to start a Patreon page. And so I recently started a Patreon page. I'm hoping to get more videos up there shortly. But I wanted to say a thank you to my Patreon subscribers, my Patreon members, because supporting in that way really means a lot to me. It gives me a vote of confidence that I'm on the right direction here, and that that whiskey on the West Coast is something that you want to be a part of and support in more than just time. And so people like Lars with the Red Deer Whiskey Club, you're doing great stuff with your I saw your VIP pours, some of the stuff you're including that the Carnmore Bunnahabhain 18-year-old cast strength, I think. Lars, I hope one day to get to Red Deer. I have some friends that live out there. If I am ever in Red Deer, I will be letting you know. And I'd love to get to a Red Deer Whiskey Club meeting, a tasting. That would be phenomenal. Thank you for your support on Patreon. Taylor, I don't know you too well. I'm wondering if you have another YouTube screen name. But thank you for signing up to be a Patreon member. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. Watchman, it was fantastic to meet you when you were traveling through the Fraser Valley. Thank you for doing the sample swap. That was fantastic. I hope you enjoyed the ones I gave you. I know I've enjoyed the ones you've given me, and I'm still working through a few of them. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the messages and just the chat and the updates from Calgary. Really great to hear your take. Sheldon with Noteworthy Whiskey. I just, yeah, you've been a huge support, man. You came on with that super chat today, even though you couldn't stay on long. I'm loving what you're putting out on Instagram. I'm really excited to see where you go with putting out more reels where you're talking through your thoughts on the whiskeys. Yeah, it's great to have your support, and glad to have you aboard with Whiskey on the West Coast. Kelly, you're gonna hate that I'm talking about Benromach today. You want me to keep it hush hush and very quiet whispers. But thank you for the support. I have loved your sense of humor, and thank you for being a river walker. One of my Patreon members here that supports me, and Jerry was another Patreon member that I've met. Jerry Miller, anyone who's a barfly will know exactly who Jerry is. He's prominent in the Aquavite Barflies group, and just a really kind guy. We went for beers. He met me for beers here in Chilliwack. We swapped whiskey sample tasting packs, and he gave me some fantastic stuff. I've still got to go through here, including a Macallan cast strength sample from back in the day. Jerry is just such a genuinely sweet, wonderful guy, and he loves sports. Even though he loves the Seattle Sounders, I forgive him for his slight faults in life, and I will welcome him as a Vancouver Whitecaps FC fan one day. So, Jerry, you're welcome to join the Whitecaps any day, and at least we can agree on the Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, I've met actually a number of people that have seen me on the channel this year, and that's such a it's a jarring thing because it always seems to be set aside from real life. Let's say this online social media stuff, and so people like Stephen Toth met you at Hopscotch. You saw me and you came over and said hi with your wife. it was great to meet you, man, and I'm sure we'll bump into each other again and cross paths. So, yeah, no, if you ever see me in a liquor store at a whiskey festival, guys, come up and say hi. I love meeting people. I'm really not too scary. I am 6'6". I'm a big guy, but I'm nice. I'm nice. So come say hi if you see me. To look sadly, no Glen Scotia tour. I popped by the Glen Scotia gift shop. Most prices were way better here in California, but grabbed that mermaid, which supposedly wasn't for US export. I mean, it just landed in Alberta. But you guys usually get the Malts Festival, and we don't. We didn't get the Campbelltown Malts Festival. I've shipped that from Royal Whiskies. So maybe we're just like swapping out there. We get the Mermaid, you guys get the Malts Festival release. Um, Glad you got to the shop. That's all I got to do. I didn't get a tour. I got there really late in the day, and the girls there were lovely. And poured me some of that Malts Festival, the white port, lightly peated release. That was really interesting. Trying to figure out the mystery about the mermaid, the mystery of the mermaid. If you haven't listened to Great Big Sea, I'm from the Maritimes originally. That's where my family's all from. And there's a Newfoundland band called Great Big Sea who do phenomenal East Coast folk music. I love it. I own every album. I saw them in concert 4 times before they broke up. But there's a song they do, a traditional Newfoundland folk song called The Mermaid, which is it's just like, innocently raunchy in all the right ways. It's a hilarious song. If you're enjoying that Glen Scotia Mermaid, maybe look up Great Big Sea and the Mermaid song, for some laughs. Sure, Kitty, isn't there another prominent online community member from Red Deer? I think you might be thinking of Ben Demon Hunter, Ben Dram Hunter. He pops on to the Barfly chats. I know he's from Red Deer, and he's prominent, at least amongst the Barfly group and on Instagram. I've talked to Ben quite a few times. Yeah, great whiskey person. He's in Red Deer as well. I don't know if he's part of the club though. Liking and subscribing are free. All helps the channel. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Lambton. That's a really great reminder. Also, clicking the bell. I know it sounds weird, but they don't actually let subscribers always know that new videos are out. If you click the bell, you get notified. It might be annoying, but that's the only surefire way to know that there's a new video out. Wraith got to head off. Congrats on the 1 year. Thanks for sticking around here, Wraith. I really appreciate that. And cheers. I'm sure I'll see you on the West Coast here again. Mm. And Greg, oh, thanks for doing that lifting there, guys. I always forget about the YouTube stuff of hey guys, make sure you like this live stream and all that. Thanks for going ahead. Yeah, more likes needed compared to viewers. Yeah, if you guys like it, it helps it when it goes onto the channel. People that are watching on the replay go Jets. Yeah, okay, okay. I didn't like the Jets when you had Dustin Bufflin on there, but I can get behind the Jets right now. Yeah, let's see. I don't know. I'm a Canucks apologist who's been long suffering with this team. Canucks very surprising this year. If you guys ever want to do a sports chat live stream, let me know because I am all over that. I will talk football, as in soccer, to specify European football. I'll talk hockey. I'll talk a whole bunch of stuff. Rugby. Love my sports, guys. How much is it in meters, Matt? 2 meters or almost 2 meters. I'm like 1.98 meters in European, 198 centimeters. I only know that because I had my German student visa where they measured me, all very clinical like. Sergio, I've never bought a Signatory vintage, but I've been wondering if it's worth it. Yeah, I haven't bought anything other than their unchilled filtered edition, like the 46% ones. I haven't bought the big decanter bottles because they've been a lot more expensive than the Gordon MacPhail releases here. Glen Scotia website lists a US stock release date for the Mermaid. Okay. Well, looks like you guys might get it. But I mean, you've already got your bottle, but if you really like it, you can get a backup there, Tim. You can get a backup. Ben Ben Demon Hunter is a big bazinga. That's who I meant. Yeah, there we go. Ben's very present. I saw the Great Big Sea in Inverness many years ago supporting Runrig. Oh man, that would have been a good concert. Yeah, I saw them in Stanley Park. I saw them at the Queenie Theater. I love that band. That's like my happy place is listening to the Great Big Sea or Stan Rogers or East Coast folk bands like that. Though I love my rock and everything else too. But yeah, no, I love the folk there. Moving on. Lick the like the like and like the lick. It tastes like delicious Benromach. Ooh, I don't think I gotta go to the red glass for Benromach. 198. It's big. Should play basketball then. I did play basketball among other sports. My size, my imposing size and height help in my professional career as well. I'll just leave it at that. Being big and tough looking helps with what I do for a career. Don't want to see my Kings on the road. Yeah. Oh, Kings. Are you a Kings fan? LA Frig. The Kings are good this year. They're the real deal. I was watching their cycle game in the corner. Oh my gosh, their forecheck, their cycle, they're on point. Real deal LA Kings this year. Yeah. Good time for me, folks. All right, signing off, Mitch. Thanks for all you do at Whiskey on the West Coast, for all you do. Hope to share a dram sometime. That would be phenomenal, Mitch. I'm gonna wrap this up too. I gotta make my decision here. Get off the pot. Good night, Greg Gore saying. All right, taking that sip of Ben Romick. Let's be honest. We know what's in these glasses at this point. It just seems self-evident. Taking a sip of what I think is Bunnahabhain 12. Man, there still is something to that. And what I think is Ledaig. Okay, I'm gonna give you the ranking in this final here. I'm gonna go with, for my personal preferences today, I'm liking the peat inclusion on the two on the outside here. I love the black licorice, chocolate, and raisin notes, and the coastal sort of salinity, the salty lick on the green glass. But if I was going for another pour of any of these, I'm going to one of these outside two first. So I'm going to eliminate the green. It is right neck and neck with these, but I'm going to eliminate the green. Let's reveal what the green is here. So the green looks like it's a D. It's a D on there. Let's go to the board. Yeah, should have done it this way. It's a D. Thanks for making it up, Kyla. I botched that. D is Bunnahabhain 12. Yeah, yeah. Next up, my second place finisher tonight is going to be the red glass. Red glass, if we reveal on here. I like this board. We're going to have to do this again, I think. C. C is Benromach 10, a worthy challenger. I think um I think if things shook out a little bit different, Benromach 10 could have been third instead of second, just because of my own personal preferences today. And a bit more time in the glass, maybe Glen Garioch or Craigallechie 13 could have come out on top. But that leaves us with our winner in the crystal glass. The crystal glass, the clear glass, is going to be B. B. It's Ledaig 10-year-old. Ledaig 10. My first whiskey that I reviewed on Whiskey on the West Coast. That seems like poetic justice to me. That seems right. I think it's a whiskey I'll always have a bottle on my shelf of, as long as they keep the quality up and they keep up an integrity presentation. I really appreciate this whiskey. It's something that is a whiskey comfort that doesn't break the bank. You don't feel any anxiety about pouring. It's an anxiety-free pour. It's a carefree pour. And it's the winner today. This is the top of my best value affordable single malt Scotch whiskeys on this day. In the head-to-head, if I brought value and price into this equation, I'll get rid of the ones that got eliminated here, the Benromach 12. And sorry, the Bunnahabhain 12 and the Benromach 10. We'll put the winner front and center. Clear off some of these glasses. If I was factoring in cost, this list probably would have played out a bit different. I probably would have put Craigallechie 13 at the top, because $50 for that 13-year-old single malt at its ABV, at its presentation with its flavors, that's something unreal for value. I imagine, I mean, McLean's Nose came to Canada and it was over $50. It was more expensive than the Craigallechie 13. Um, if the Sinclair series of Ledaig came to Canada, non-age stated Rioja casks, that would be over $50. How Craigallechie 13 is only $50, $49 in Canada is is crazy to me. Um, Next up would probably be a three-way race between that Ledaig 10, the Benromach 10, and the Glen Garioch 12 if we're including cost. But just head to head for flavor profile, I can't look past the Ledaig 10 today. It's my winner, and it's full value for it. I really appreciate what they do at Tobermory. I've got some aged Tobermorys in the cupboard here, and I would love to bring them reviews. If you guys want more independent bottling reviews, I'll try and do those as best I can. The only independent bottles I've reviewed on the channel, the reviews completely fell flat. I'm guessing it's because of availability, because the bottles are usually there's only 200 bottles. And I think a lot of people don't want to watch reviews of things that they can't get. I watch independent bottling reviews because it gives me an idea of the quality of the producer and the quality of the spirit and the quality of that vintage sometimes as well. But um, while I don't do things necessarily for the views, I do want to bring you guys content you actually want to watch. So I'm going to try and find new and unique ways to bring more independent bottles and reviews and opinions to you because that's where my heart is in a lot of it. I really love my independent Gordon MacPhail's signatory releases, North Star Spirits, so on and so forth. Berry Brothers in Red. Yeah, that's where a lot of my money wants to go. But I want to make sure I'm bringing you guys stuff that is also helpful and entertaining to you. So yeah, I'll check the comments here for sign off comments to see if you guys have any thoughts on the independent bottlings. Sugar Kitty with another meow. I gotta highlight the meow. Gregoire, Whiskey on the West Coast. It's also a good height if you visit someday the whiskey exchange shops in London. Okay, all right, I can pick from the tall shelves. Let's see here. Big tall shelves they have. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to get to the whiskey exchange while we were in London, but the timing just didn't work out for everything we were trying to fit in there. Uh Tim Benromach 10 is $30 cheaper than Legic here. Still the guilt-free champion. I get that. Here they're essentially the same price. Legic might be $5 cheaper now, but they were the exact same price for the longest time. Effectively a saw off for me. But glad to hear that you can get the Benromach 10 so cheap. Sergio, is it normal for Lefroy quarter cast, sorry, to go rather thin after while being open? I remember when opening it was tasting much more stuff, but even the peak kind of disappeared. Yeah, I've heard that a lot with Lefroy bottlings. It sounds like you need to drink it while it's at a fuller level. I've heard that, and I've experienced that with the 10. I've experienced that with the quarter cask. My 10 cask strength still holding in pretty good. But yeah, I've heard that a lot with Lefroy bottlings. Once you crack them, you kind of need to keep moving on them. So that doesn't surprise me to hear that about your quarter cask at all, there, Smeargel. Sugar Kitty, yes, Legic generally is higher cost for you in New Jersey too, and the Glengarry hasn't been around in years. Oh, I count myself lucky to have the Glengarry on the shelf then. It's something I can go and pick up any day of the week in BC here. Gregoire, not sure. My advice is to take the air out of your bottle or special neutral gas to put into the samples of the quantity left in size. Yeah, you can use like an inert gas. I've heard mixed results with that, but a lot of the people who do this for a long time really do swear by it. Yeah, typical fading of the peat, yes, but I think Lefroy suffers more than other malts with the fading. Sandra, excellent choice, Matt. Thanks, congratulations, and ciao to everyone. Slanja, oh, Slanja, Sandro, great to have you here today. Mm. Gregoire, do indie bottlings, Matt, but maybe let the Canadian exclusive releases for Patreons, as we'll never get them here. Yeah, no, that's not a bad suggestion. I haven't noticed it in Ardbeg, Octomore, Port Charlotte bottles. Yeah, no, Lafroig is notorious, I think, for kind of going flat in the bottle after a long time. And Gorge, sure, independent bottles. Great selection in Alberta. Do you belong to the SMWS? Yeah, I'm an SMWS member right now for at least the year. My membership comes due in June, and at that time, I'll decide if it's worth it to continue. I'm still kind of on the fence. I've been enjoying the virtual tastings I've been able to get on, and I've got 1 or 2 bottlings from them so far, but, I'll have to decide if it's worth it for, the membership cost. If I could buy another bottle to get my membership included, I would do that, but because you can only do that once, to join, I'm not sure certain if I'm gonna re-up. And neck pour is pretty relative concept, very trendy, okay, often true, but sometimes totally wrong in my honest opinion. Yeah, neck pour is a highly debated topic, and I know the science behind it is saying it's the same compounds in there regardless, but I think, the more oxygen, the more headspace you get in the bottle, the effects of, oxidation, um, how that impacts how the bottle pours the rest of the way. I'm a believer that as the bottle drinks down, as it gets lower, there are impacts on it. I've tasted it, I've smelt it, at least my impression of it. In that way, I could see some truth behind the neck pour theory. However, ah, decide for yourself. I mean, you, Gregoire, you have an opinion on the neck pour, and I mean, you've plotted a pretty good path through there. It's pretty relative concept, like you said, very trendy. Yeah, a lot of people like to talk about it. Often true, but sometimes totally wrong. Yeah, sometimes like it's overblown. I think that's what you're getting at there. Some people put way too much weight on it, and I'd agree in that way. All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off here. Thank you so much for joining me here on Whiskey on the West Coast on this live to celebrate our 1 year anniversary of being a channel, of being part of this space, of being a small part of Whiskey Tube. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting. Thank you for being here just to chat whiskey and to drink along. And I hope there's many more years of this to follow. I'm excited for what this next year has in store, and I'm excited to catch up and talk with all of you again. Until next time, have a great weekend wherever you are in the world. Slange from the West Coast.